offense, Charlie, as they try to set up either the field goal or much rather have the touchdown on Dave Craig. And a new emphasis. They're not going to change their offense because of the loss of Warner. What they're going to have to do is respond to less productivity out of their back. That means more pressure on the passing game.
3rd down and 1. Dan Dorman. And it will be close.
We might have a tough call here for Chuck Knox. Would he go for it, or would he take the pretty sure 3 points in this situation? I think they may have to measure it, Charlie.
The running backs were Dornick and Eric Lane.
One thing I can tell you about Chuck Knox, I played for him for 5 years. He's a decisive coach. He's an aggressive coach. But he's also a pretty practical man. He'll look at the measurement, and he'll decide what he wants to do. Well, he doesn't have to make a decision. He doesn't have to decide in this case. That decision was made for him, and that's the one he'd like to have. He didn't want to have to make that choice.
1st down at the San Diego 14-yard line. The Chargers defense vastly improved over last year, as is the Seahawks defense. And now we have a situation where both ball clubs have to must rely more on their defense than in the past. Craig the throw. It is high and it's over the head of Steve Larkin. Gilbert with the coverage. It'll be 2nd down and 10. And a flag was dropped back near the 29-yard line.
That's a shame. Larkin, who's playing with a badly bruised back, had muscle spasms during the week, was open on that play, working on Gilbert, and you saw the look right there. Larkin said, hey, I had him beat. There was a chance for a touchdown.
Number 59, offense, still 1st down.
Holding on Blair Bush, the center.
Here's Larkin, and you can watch it for yourselves. Bird has got to respect the clever feet, and you saw him right there make the move to the outside, and plenty of room to make that catch. Had the ball been thrown down and low, ball kind of took off on him. Looked like it may have rolled off Craig's fingers as he threw it.
1st down and 20 at the 24-yard line. Larkin took a helmet in the back in the game last week. I had the back spasm one was talking about. Intercepted. San Diego has the football. Lyndon King, the ball comes loose, and Seattle has it back. David Hughes ends up with the football. Turnovers on one play.
Charlie, turnovers have been such a key factor for this team, and here we've got 2 of them. The first goes against them as Craig throws to a well-covered Mike Tice, and Lyndon King makes a marvelous interception. So watch it here. The strip right there. The ball knocked loose, and alertly, Seattle had that football back. And there's Franco Harris,
wearing number 34. And this is when he received the football from the referee a year ago for moving past O.J. Simpson's record of 11,236 yards. The newest Seahawks. Knocked down by Andre Young, Larkin, the intended receiver. Now let's check the scoreboard. Miami defeating New England close in the 1st half. Dolphins win it big. Chicago shuts out Denver.
now that's a surprise.
That is a surprise. They're in overtime. St. Louis over Buffalo. That's not a big surprise. Kansas City. New Orleans. No score there. Pressure and a sack. 1st sack. Ferguson gets the sack. Let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, we've got action down in Anaheim. The Browns and the Rams. Paul McDonald under tremendous pressure from the Rams. He scrambles. Leroy Irvin is there and up the right sideline, 81 yards for a touchdown. The Rams have jumped out on top of the Browns, 7-0.
Here at the Kingdom, the ball is on the Seattle 49-yard line. It will be 3rd down and 16. A loss of 6 on the sack. 6 minutes, 27 seconds, time remaining. We're in the first quarter. Craig goes deep. Byron Walker tripped over the heel of Miles McPherson, I believe, one of the Charger defenders. There is not a flag. He may have tripped himself.
I believe that he was tripped, but I think the official who was right on top is ruling that that was incidental contact, or else he's ruling that the pass could not have been caught. I don't know which. It was an interesting call. You'll see it on the left-hand side of your screen here. You watch the two of them coming right down at you. Now, here's the play. Right there, you see the receiver running, and suddenly his legs go out from underneath him. At 24, Miles McPherson, and there's the football arriving.
Jeff West kicking to Lionel James. Fair catch is called for.
Oh, that's going to be down.
Oh, does go into the end zone.
Looked like a perfect punch for a moment there.
That punt covered 51 yards. The Chargers lead it 3-0. We're in the first quarter, and we'll be back in just a moment. I'm Charlie Jones, and this is Merlin Olsen, and all of us at NBC Sports are saddened this week by the death of Dick Enberg's father. And I know it is a particular loss to you, a friend of his dad, and you and Dick are close friends and working together for so many years.
Charlie, working together as we do, I think we all have the feeling of team, and when one of ours hurts, we all hurt a little bit with him, and certainly we're sorry at the passing of Arnie Enberg, and our thoughts and our prayers are with Dick and the entire Enberg family.
For his own 20-yard line. And it's complete to Wes Chandler. A flag down.
Charlie, it gives us a chance to mention to viewers who've joined us late from other games that the Chargers have been using some unique formations, employing all receivers without any running backs, and then alternately bringing Pete Johnson in to handle running chores. But Coryell is a very creative coach. And he's got Wes Chandler as a back in there, who's, of course, a starting wide receiver.
Illegal formation, number 67, not on the line of scrimmage.
Well, and
first down.
That's a call we see much more of these days. He's got to be lined up within the numbers of that center. But Coryell has devised some interesting plays, and so far the Chargers have used them effectively.
First and 15. Holohan in motion. Ernest Jackson, the ball carrier. 5:52, first quarter, time remaining. Let's go to New York.
All right, Charlie, you had some technical problems before, so we want to show you how the game ended in Cincinnati. Bengals trailing 27-22. M.L. Harris from Kenny Anderson, but watch, Darren Cherry pops the ball loose. Kevin Ross comes up for it with the Chiefs. They run the clock out. The final is 27-22, and Kansas City's 2-0.
Thank you, Bill. And Kansas City will host the Raiders next week, and you and Dick will be there for that.
That's going to be an exciting game. Both those teams off and doing well.
Down on a screen. Tight end screen to Eric Sievers, and Sievers picks up the first down. Out of bounds, 36-yard line, a quick 18 yards on the play.
Sievers certainly playing well, and of course we'll have a chance to shine here with Winslow out of the lineup this week. And we mentioned he's in San Diego watching on TV. Let's watch his replacement in action. It's a little screen pass. They invite the lineman to the inside. It's about faking the double screen, actually, the first to the left and then to the right. And Jacob Green very close to that football. He didn't get it. That's Keith Simpson, 42, missing a tackle. Steelers running away from it. Good speed.
San Diego leading 3-0. Have a first down at their own 36-yard line as Ernest Jackson gets the call. And he has 3 to the 39. It will be second down and 7.
Charlie, let's go back and review one point. The missing people in the key people who are missing in this game. Of course, we all know Kurt Warner, his importance to the Seattle side of it. But with both Muncie out of this game and the big tight end Kellen Winslow, I think that evens things out pretty well. And you see what's happening. A lot of scrambling going on by the offensive coaches and the offensive game plan for the San Diego Chargers.
And I'll update both of those stories right after this play for those of you that joined us late in the telecast watching of the ball game. Bounce going deep. Should have been. It's picked off in the air. Should have been intercepted. Bobby Duckworth picks the ball off in the air off of a defender. 61 yards. Kenny Easley and Dave Brown were converging on the play. And when you're hot, Duckworth in the opener, 4 for 115. 61 yards.
The biggest improvement in this Seahawks defense has been in their ability to stop the big bomb. They stopped this play cold. They have two defenders who really knock each other off the interception. This ball should be intercepted, but the two of them fight for it. The ball goes off the heel of Easley right there and right into the surprised hands of Bobby Duckworth. And look at him. He says, nobody going to call this back, are you?
I had it all the way. And I was wide open. Here's Benerska with the extra point attempt. And it is good. And San Diego leads by a score of 10-0. We have exactly 4.5 minutes left to go in the first quarter. It has been a strange opening here in the Kingdom. Dan Fouts has completed 7 of 10 for 112 yards and the touchdown as the Chargers have put the foot back into football. Rolf Benerska will be kicking off. The two deep backs for Cullen Bryant, number 32, and number 46, David Hughes. David Hughes from the 3-yard line to the 15, 20. And returns to the 26-yard line. Let's go back to the Charger touchdown.
They say one of the reasons that the football is not round is because it bounces in so many directions. Now, this is about as unusual a play as you'll see all year. The catch right here should have been made by one of the defensive backs, Easley or Brown. Now, watch the ball drop down, and Easley's foot scoops it off the ground right there. And there's Bobby Duckworth. Bobby Duckworth has said, hey, this isn't the way you're supposed to catch all these passes. Take them off the heel, walk them into the end zone, touchdown.
This is Charlie Jones, Merlin Olsen. We're back in the Kingdom. The Charger defense, as we'll take a quick look at it, they go with a basic 3-4 set. Under Tom Bass, and they have done an excellent job. Third in the National Football League. It's a good start for the Chargers. They lose Hughes. And the defense reacting well already in this ballgame, holding Seattle to only 1 first down. Carlos Bradley, who's replaced Woodrow Lowe, he makes the tackle. Let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, you think Bobby Duckworth was surprised to end up with the football? I want to show you what happened in Anaheim. Browns have tied it up. Paul McDonald to Ricky Feature, and he puts it right there. Put the ball down to the 8-yard line. Pruitt then scored, and that ball game is all tied up now at 7-7.
Thank you, Bill. It's an afternoon of surprises already. 2nd down and 8. And here's Dave Craig to throw. Knocked away. Bill Elko knocked it down, and you have to wait on the call the way the ball has been bouncing in the game.
You never know.
Would have been 6 points.
One of the real problems that this Charger defense has had is getting pressure on the quarterback. And they have been able to get pressure on Craig today. Elko, number 68, in at nose tackle in this situation. And watch that big paw go right up in front of quarterback Dave Craig and knock the ball down. Now, this Charger team has had to use a lot of blitzes. They've had to put their linebackers, and they're actually their best sacking threat has been by the linebackers in the blitz.
And here is the quarterback, Dave Craig. Took over midway last season, led them to the playoffs, to the championship game, has the flag down. The pass is complete to Steve Largent. Largent would pick up the first down if the play holds. Normally when a flag is dropped, in this case back at the 18-yard line, it will go against Seattle, so we'll put the eraser to a 19-yard gain. First kind of burst that the Seahawks have had.
That's really a shame, and we saw one of the reasons that Craig has been a popular quarterback here, his mobility. Both he and Zorn very mobile, able to get away from some pressure and get that ball off very precisely.
Holding, number 64, offense.
Call on
Third
Ron
down.
Essing. Pat Haggerty is the referee. Interesting, in preseason play, if you matched up the way they move the ball club and you matched up the statistics in preseason, Jim Zorn played better than Dave Craig. But Craig was the starting quarterback going in, had a terrible last preseason game against the 49ers, but had an excellent outing last Monday afternoon, a game that was moved to Monday afternoon when they shut out Cleveland 33-0. He is the quarterback for the Seahawks. Third down, 18. And a flag is down. Craig going deep. He was looking for the rookie, Darryl Turner, and Turner simply ran out of room as Reuben Henderson just kind of edged him down the sideline and took him out of bounds. But there was a marker, an illegal procedure against the Seahawks. Chargers will refuse it. It'll be 4th and 18, and they'll be punted.
They'll force the punt, but Walker really, or Turner really a sprinter. And Largent described him as a fast John Stallworth. He said this guy is really a glider. They're very pleased with his deep speed, and they'll be trying to get to him today as we move into this ball game.
And he does. He has that deceptive speed. He just kind of flows, and all of a sudden he flows away from the defensive back. Jeff West will be kicking. He was with San Diego for 4 years, and he was out of football a year. He's been with Seattle now for 4. Lionel James set for the return. Since West has been with the Seahawks, he has not had a punt block. James takes it to the 37-yard line. And you can see why he is 5'6", 172 pounds. When he's hit, he's bounced back about 4 yards. A 44-yard kick and a 4-yard return for the man they call Little Train, Lionel James. The pity races are heating up, and NBC Sports is all the baseball action. Here's the preview. This is Charlie Jones and Merlin Olsen. We're looking now at the San Diego Charger offensive huddle. Chuck Muncie is not in the huddle. He was suspended this morning. He missed a team flight yesterday, flew up then last night, and was suspended for this game. He, as far as we know, has gone back to San Diego. The pass, the quick screen to the far side to Wes Chandler is low. It is incomplete. It will be 2nd down and 10. By now, most of you know, Kellen Winslow retired after the ball game last Sunday. As he announced last night that he is coming back to the San Diego Chargers. Will probably report to them for practice tomorrow.
As a result of those 2 vacancies, Chargers scrambling a little bit and using a very strange offense without any wide receivers or without any running backs, all wide receivers and tight ends.
And then Pete Johnson will come in every once in a while, as he is here. And he'll pick, but basically he is in a short yardage situation. He runs this as a short yardage, but it was 2nd and 10. Has a couple. It'll be 3rd down and 8. Shelton Robinson makes the tackle. And, of course, you all know that for the Seattle Seahawks is that Kurt Warner, knee operation, out for the year and is still in the hospital here in Seattle. And Franco Harris, number 34 rather than 32. That's going to be hard for us.
That's right. That's going to be tough. Well, you're up to date on the missing people and the people who are here now, Charlie.
Okay, now we can get back to the ball game. 3rd down and 8. Bounce is completed 7 of 11. He goes deep again. Duckworth is behind, and he lost the ball. I believe that when he looked up, the pass was directly behind him. He looked over his right shoulder, and then he looked over his left shoulder, and he had gotten behind the defender.
We talked about gliding speed. Duckworth also has that kind of speed, and Fouts, seeing a clump of defenders and one receiver down there, decided to throw it long and hope that Duckworth could use his speed to break out and catch the ball.
Hardest pass in the world is the one that's directly behind you. You don't have the angle to see it come in.
Yeah. Duckworth is saying, well, where are you, Kenny? Usually come and kick that ball up to me so I can take it in and score.
We're a team. We're a team.
Yeah. You don't see this sight very often. Kicked fewer times in the last 2 years than any punter in the NFL.
Maury Buford kicking to Paul John. Has pressure blocked by Terry Taylor. Taken at the 24-yard line by Johns. Johns down the sidelines and out of bounds. But Terry Taylor, the #1 draft choice for the Seahawks, putting the pressure on Maury Buford. A 35-yard kick and a 13-yard return.
You've got speed at both ends. Terry Taylor coming from the right side of your screen, actually from the left side here, will just shoot across in front of Buford and just missed that ball by a fraction of an inch. Oh, he's lucky to get that one away.
The Chargers lead 10-0.
Merlin Olsen with Charlie Jones. And next week on NFL 84, join host Bob Costas as we begin our series, the AFL Remembered. Charlie, I know you did some real fine work on that. It's a look back at the AFL on its 25th anniversary. We're going to have interviews with Al Davis, Lamar Hunt, Joe Namath, George Landis, Jack Kemp, many, many more, plus some rare pictures and highlights. Series you won't want to miss, the AFL Remembered next week on NFL 84.
When you say rare pictures, that just means
that means that was before you got a little gray,
That's
Charlie?
right, my hair was dark. Seattle from their own 37-yard line first down, trailing 10-0 in the ball game. And here's the first carry of Franco Harris.
There are the numbers. The all-time records in the NFL. Franco just adding a few more yards to his total. It's going to be a little strange seeing him in a different uniform.
And a different number.
And a different number. He's wearing 34. That's because Cullen Bryant is wearing 32. Talk about that a little bit more, Charlie.
For the record book, Franco Harris gained 6 yards in his first carry, and his second carry just about 3, maybe 3.5. Struck Ian with the tackle. Now he's wearing 34. Did you get attached to a number? Did you get attached to 74? Did you have a problem, or was there a time when you couldn't wear it?
Well, you'd like to wear your own number. And when he came here, he would love to have had 32. But with somebody wearing it already, he said, I'll take 34. That's his college number. So he's attached to that number as well. He's attached to the big numbers. He'd like the numbers on the scoreboard to show up. And you know what I like about Franco? He's business when it comes to that. He said, I'm here to help this team any way I can. No way I can replace Kurt Warner, but I can do a lot of things to help these Seahawks win.
3rd down and 1. Here's Franco for the first down. He has it.
One of the interesting things that we have to look at today, Franco Harris has been a notorious slow starter. He's been a notorious slow starter. And yet, here he is, after not taking any contact at all, getting a chance to get into the ball, get upfield. Franco is a cutback runner. You'll see him right here, going against the grain, coming back in underneath, and that's vintage Franco.
50-yard line, first down. Craig to throw. And it is low. That's a bit for light. Craig is having a terrible day. He is now 1 of 8 and has suffered an interception.
He is, and you have to know that on that sideline, Jimmy Zorn is, he warmed up not too long ago. Knox may not wait too long if Craig is having an off day to give Zorn a chance to play, but I don't think it'll happen yet, Charlie. One more ad on Franco, and I think it's worth saying. Without any training camp, without any contact, here's the back that's stepping in, and Franco has been a notorious slow starter. It was at Pittsburgh. They've asked him to come in and do a job right away. He's going to have to turn up the heat and go after it.
8 seconds left to go, first quarter.
I think it took too long. Yeah.
And while they sort this out, let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, thank you very much. This is the second quarter at the Astrodome. Warren Moon at quarterback, and he will hand the ball to Earl Campbell, who earlier scored on a 1-yard run. This one is good for 15, snaps the 7-all deadlock, and gives the Oilers a 14-7 lead over the Colts in the second.
Merlin, you saw the Oilers last week. How is Warren Moon going to fare in the National Football League?
I'm sure Warren Moon was very disappointed in his debut last week, but the Oilers looked surprisingly good against the relatively inept first half by the Raiders. The Raiders' strength dominated the second half, and the Oilers, who played themselves out emotionally, were not able to keep up. I think he's going to be good, Charlie. That's the answer to your question.
2nd down and 15. This one is on target to Mike Todd. Miles McPherson with the tackle. A pickup of 10, so it'll be 3rd down and 5 as the first quarter comes to a close. We're in the Kingdome, and San Diego has the lead on a very strange touchdown play. 10-0. This is Charlie Jones, Merlin Olsen. The Chargers out in front of Seattle by a score of 10-0 as we start the second quarter. Seahawks have the ball at the San Diego 45-yard line, 3rd down and 5. Seahawks with 4 wide receivers. The Chargers counter with 5 men in the secondary. From the shotgun. Craig steps forward. A flag is down. The pass is complete to Steve Largent, but there was a marker on the play.
Number 68, Bill Elko, saying, yeah, you're right, they held me, but we'll give the officials a chance to sort it out. The official on the sideline making the call. Yeah, it was not a holding call.
The procedure call, my guess, an illegal formation.
Illegal formation. Either that or two backs in motion. Let's see what they do call finally.
Illegal formation, number 76, not on the line of scrimmage.
Chuck Knox, of course, disagreeing with that call.
Steve August, number 76, ticketed for that. And, of course, the rule, and they're really nailing it. You've got to have those offensive tackles up on the ball. Here are the first quarter stats for Seahawks and the Chargers. The rushing yardage, you see, favoring the Seahawks. And, of course, the passing yardage drastically in favor. Only 5 yards passing for the Seahawks. That's not much of a quarter.
3rd down and 10. Largent has it out of bounds. 17 yards and a first down. And Steve, a new father, his wife Terry, delivering their 3rd child, a son, Kelly Douglas. So congratulations to the new dad.
Things have kind of returned to a pre-Warner Seattle look. And this man, Steve Largent, is the key to that passing attack. He's a mobile receiver, not great speed, but incredible concentration, and I don't think there are better moves anywhere in the NFL.
San Diego 33-yard line. Chargers lead it 10-0. Frank O'Hara. 3 yards to the 30-yard line. It will be 2nd down and 7. And Mike Green makes the tackle. 12 tackles last week, and the leading tackler last year for San Diego.
Well, they started 2 rookies inside, Mike Green and, of course, Billy Ray Smith. And Green is the quicker of the two. He's the flyer, gets around very well, and has just done an extremely good job. But Billy Ray Smith, 54, also working hard in there. He's more the plugger. He's playing up tight to the line, and Green flowing is making the tackles. That's the way it's supposed to be, Charlie.
And Green, a nice round draft choice. Quite a surprise last year out of Oklahoma State. Franco. Green with the tackle.
And there he is. He came right back for it. You see Franco go to the sideline here. He's not in great shape yet, and he's not in shape for the hitting that's going to take place. He's already got 19 yards in the game. You see that smile? Well, I think he's happy to be back with a helmet on his head and playing football. Amazing that he could pick up as much of this offense as he has in just a few days of practice. He had a real problem, though. The numbers, yeah, they're exactly opposite, so he's got to go in his head. Now, that's that play, that's that number. I've got to switch it all the way over. That's tough to do.
3rd down and 4. 4 wide receivers for Seattle. The money man, Steve Largent. A gain of 10, 1st down. And this is the first time in the ball game that the Seahawks have been able to move effectively against the San Diego defense. And one thing that Seattle wants to do, in addition, of course, to winning, that is they want their offense to stay on the field as much as possible, to take up as much time as possible. They want to keep Fouts and the explosion of the Chargers off of the field.
Absolutely right, Charlie. But you see the emphasis shifting a little bit for the Seahawks to the passing game. To the passing game here in this the early part of this game.
At the 17-yard line. David Hughes is stacked up by that Charger defense. And again, it is Mike Green, number 58. 3 times in this drive that started back at the Seahawks 37-yard line. They have converted on 3rd down.
Reggie McKenzie, the veteran left guard, is obviously not feeling well. Lost his breakfast, but what there was of it, maybe took a shot in the stomach, or perhaps under the weather today. That's not good news. Ed Bailey, number 65, in his place.
The line of scrimmage, the San Diego 17, 2nd down and 10. Paul Johns in motion. Largent broke off the pattern to the right in the end zone. He was picked up by Danny Walters. Craig expected to break the pattern to the left.
I think Largent probably had an option on that play, and Craig could not wait long enough to see the choice being made. Craig was under pressure. Now Largent has to read the defense. He opts to go to the outside here. Craig had to throw the football and had to guess on where Largent was going to go. They're lucky that there were no defenders back there. The ball fell incomplete.
And the reason that he had to guess was the fact that number 76, Keith Ferguson, the defensive end, was right in his face.
Ferguson providing an earlier sack, and they feel that his move to right in will give them better pressure on the quarterback because he likes that position much better than playing on the left side, which he did last year.
Third down and 10, 17-yard line. It's there. Paul John. A gain of 11 to the 6-yard line. It'll be first down, goal to go for the Seahawks.
Well, Steve Largent isn't the only receiver on this Seahawks team. Paul John's doing a good job here. And Dave Craig said what excites him is the fact that he has much better receiving core this year to throw to. Just a great move to get open there and gets himself knocked out of bounds. That's Danny Walters, 23, who's played extremely well last year and a little slow in his start this year, but he's a good cornerback.
That is the fourth third down conversion by the Seahawks in this drive. First down, goal to go.
An impressive drive, Charlie.
Eric Blade, David Hughes are the running back. David Hughes to the 3-yard line. Bill Elko was there. Chuck Ian also in defensively for San Diego.
And as well as this drive has gone, you still sense the disappointment in not having Warner on the field because he forces the defense to respect so many things that you can do with a great back like that in the middle of your offensive formation. Now there are the defensive rankings. You see the jump from 83. That's only one game, but look how these two teams have started this year on defense. Now that is impressive.
David Hughes.
Speaking of defense, now that may well be a face mask call on that side. Thrown late. Let's see what they do. Charlie, getting back to the point that I was making, that's just a single week. That's just a single week of play, but it certainly bodes well for both these coaching staffs who really felt rather dismal about the defensive performance last year. The only thing that saved the Seahawks was the great turnover ratio that they were able to establish, the fact that they took the ball away so often.
Incidental face mask, number 57, still second down.
Called on Lyndon King. Your offense will entertain, but your defense will win you the game.
Well, they certainly will, and that's a good way to say it. Now, that you notice it's not an automatic first down. That's an incidental face mask. Now, if the 5 yards gives you the first down, you've got it. But it certainly gives you the down over, and you've got a second down situation on the 1-yard line.
Second down, goal to go. That is the first touchdown that the Charger defense has given up this year.
Well, an impressive drive put together by these Seahawks as they converted on, what was it, 4 third down situations, Charlie? That's really an outstanding drive, and they culminated it, not with a pass, but with a run. That's significant.
Norm Johnson with the extra point in his gut. And so, with 11:34 left to go in the second quarter, the Seattle Seahawks have pulled within 3 of the San Diego Chargers. Here is the kickoff. We'll be back with a kickoff. San Diego leading Seattle now by a score of 10-7 as Norm Johnson will be kicking off. Lionel James and Ernest Jackson or the de facto the return for the Chargers. And this one will go out of bounds 5 yards, and they'll kick over. There's a problem for the kickers here at the Kingdome. Even though as you look out, it looks as if the surface here is flat. When we were talking with Norm Johnson yesterday, little dips and ripples, and you can catch the rubberized cleat, and they'll throw you off stride.
Well, he has an option of where he's going to put that kickoff down. I don't think he's got a bad place there. I just think he mishit the ball. But you're right, Charlie. There are some dangerous areas on this turf, and many of them down to the right of us. In fact, we'll give you a look at the seam. Now, there's a seam that runs across the field down near the 20-yard line. You see how open that is. That is dangerous. And then a little further down the field, an absolute hump in the field close to the goal line. Those areas really are the areas where the carpet covers the baseball field here. And it's made it a little treacherous in that end of the field, and will be that way until baseball season is over.
And there was a nice article in one of the Seattle newspapers about this. They covered the problem. They did point this out about artificial surface, though. If it wasn't for artificial surface, there would not be indoor stadiums. There would not be a Kingdome. There would not be the National Football League in Seattle.
And that's not where Warner got hurt, by the way. That was at the other end of the field.
He was down at around the 4-yard line at the opposite end of the field. That is the first touchdown in Eric Lane's NFL career. You'll see that football. Here's Lionel James. I think I can. I think I can. What was it, the Little Red Train? Well, this looks... he's something else.
Well, that's an impressive return anytime, but especially impressive against the best kickoff coverage in the league.
A return of 28 yards. Another great weekend in NFL is coming up. Here's a preview.
The NFL plays here. L.A.
The champion Raiders now face the Chiefs. Can the silver and black stop the air attack?
The NFL plays here. KC.
Coach John Makovic sends his high-flying offense into the skies again.
The Raiders baffle the Chiefs. The NFL plays here.
The wave is rolling in the Kingdome. I asked Dan Fouts if the wave and the noise a problem, and he said it is. In this situation, like at this end of the field, he said, when I come to the line of scrimmage, I try and time my call when the waves at the opposite end of the stadium.
Well, there's one way to quiet a crowd down, and Fouts has done it many times. You got to put points on the board, but that noise level is very disconcerting, especially difficult to hear audible calls on the line of scrimmage in this situation.
Dan Fouts, the hottest arm in the West. West Campbell. First down, San Diego.
Fouts absolutely almost fell down, Charlie. He's not the most graceful quarterback, but he can throw on the back foot, the front foot, half laying down. He dipped that ball out to Chandler, and Chandler doesn't worry about what he's going to do with it. He knows what he's going to do with it. But this man is remarkable. Talking to Tom Catlin, the first two things he said about Fouts, accuracy and confidence. And they are echoed by almost everyone who describes his ability as an athlete.
Gain of 12, first down, San Diego, their own 41-yard line. Here's Ernest Jackson. Jackson has 4 yards to the 45. It will be second down at 6 as Jeff Bryant, who has an interception, and Bruce Schultz team up on the tackle for the Seahawks.
Charlie, just as an add to that on Fouts, Knox and his staff, including Tom Catlin, who's the defensive coordinator, went over to coach the Pro Bowl last year. Fouts was there, and they had a chance close up to have him on their team. I said, anything unusual that you noticed? They said, absolutely unbelievable personal intensity and the accuracy again. He can put it on the right number, the left number. He just doesn't put it on the numbers.
Pete Johnson.
Ooh.
Just a couple of yards. It'll be third down and 4. Keith Butler and Bruce Schultz for the defense. Johnson 6 feet even, 278 pounds.
We introduced you earlier to Don Coryell, and there's a little information about the kind of yardage his troops have racked up. A man absolutely obsessed by the passing game. I don't think I've ever met anyone who knows more or thinks more about it than Coryell.
Pete Johnson, 3 carries, 6 yards in the ball game. Third down and 4. Fouts will be throwing here. Little pirouette by Chandler, and Chandler has the reception. He is killed by John Hill. Seahawks in with 6 men in the secondary. They will use as many as 8 with a 3-man rush.
They love those nickel and dime and quarter packages where they move a lot of extra defensive backs into the lineup. And in that situation, certainly John Harris did a great job of nailing him.
The sign says it. You call it Eric Coryell. Well, here, for Chuck Knox, they call it ground shot. Ground shot.
Well, you see the difference in their philosophy there. Oh.
Paul Johns fields it at the 18-yard line. We've got a timeout, 9 minutes and 4 seconds left to go in the second quarter. The Chargers lead it by 3. I'm Charlie Jones. This is Merlin Olsen. We alluded to the fact that Franco Harris has a problem with the numbers, the change in odds and evens, opposite side from what he's used to. There's another problem that he had, and it was interesting how they worked it out.
It was. Franco was used to taking the football like this with his hands. They wanted him to take it like this. He was used to scooping it with both hands. Now, instead of asking him to take it as the other Seahawks backs do, they said, go ahead, we'll adjust to you. Quarterbacks have had a little trouble doing that. They've been hitting him in the chest with the ball, afraid they would hit his hand.
Seattle with the ball. First down on their own 20-yard line. Mayhem, I think, a busted play. Well, I think he thought Franco was going to take the ball. Franco wasn't that sure. I mean, that may be what you were talking about of the difference in the numbering system, odds and evens.
He's coming into a situation. He's only had a few days to learn. He's facing a numbering system and a terminology that's entirely foreign to him.
Now, explain that for our viewers that won't understand it.
Well, terminology, Charlie, that's like going to a foreign country and trying to order breakfast. You don't know what in the world they're talking about.
To the 29-yard. Now, you watch here how he gets the ball, but let me tell you how difficult it is to order breakfast in a strange country. My son Chuck was in East Germany. Had no idea. He said, I'd order the most expensive thing on the menu for breakfast. They brought him ice cream and beer.
Well, this is not ice cream and beer. This is Franco Harris, and he speaks the language of football. You saw him scooping the ball, 2 hands, taking it and running with it. He can be sore tomorrow. Let me tell you, he hasn't had much contact.
Check the scoreboard, second quarter. The Rams in front of Cleveland by 3. The Colts and the Oilers now tied in the second quarter, 14-14. Franco Harris is the leading rusher in the ball game, 6 carries, 25 yards.
That is amazing. That is amazing. He's been here just a couple of days and already making an impact. And you know, he's got such a great attitude.
Yeah.
He said very simply, he said, I'm not here to replace Warner. He said, that's something that I really can't do. But he said, I am here to play football. I'll do everything I can to help this team. And I asked him, I said, what's your first impression of the Seahawks team? And he said, Merlin, he said, it reminds me a lot of when I was first in Pittsburgh. The same kind of enthusiasm, the same kind of camaraderie. And, well, I just happen to feel he's going to add something to this situation.
I do, too. And the thing that he added, I was here last Monday for the ball game when Kurt Warner was hurt. And there was a damper, not only in the Kingdome, but in the entire city of Seattle. And then with the announcement of the signing of Franco Harris, it was a big lift not only for Chuck Knox, but for the entire city. And I think that he is just as valuable in that respect because it's a lift to his teammates, and he's such a class individual.
Yeah. There's the man that was willing to put out the dollars. Knox made the decision, a decisive one. But John Nordstrom, who's owner and managing partner of the Seahawks operation, had to okay that. A lot of money.
And he's a nice young man, too. I like him.
But you're not giving up those future draft choices.
You don't give up draft choices. You don't give up a player. Program note. November the 10th. Horse racing's $10 million day. The Breeders' Cup featuring 7 championship races. Every race has a purse of at least $1 million. And it's truly the Super Bowl of horse racing, November the 10th, here on NBC Sports. Third down and 1, 7:41. Time remaining second quarter. Seattle trailing by 3, 10-7. Eric Lane, David Hughes are the 2 running backs, and here is Eric Lane. And he's got the first down to the 31-yard line. That is 5 times in a row now that the Seahawks have converted third down opportunities.
Excellent job. I see Reggie McKenzie's back in the game, and they put Brian Millard, big offensive tackle, in as a a tight end on that play. They're suffering a tight end because of the problems by Pete Metzlars, who has a knee injury, will not be playing in this ball game today.
Let's check the baseball scoreboard. Both the Mets final over the Cubs 5-1. Well, things are getting closer and closer, leading the World Series on NBC. Big game. San Diego 46-yard line. 23 yards on the play.
Seahawks beginning to find some spaces in that secondary of the Chargers. Charlie Young's been around a long time, 12 years. Still knows how to read a defense. And Craig looks like he's settling down, Charlie. That's a nice pass. And look how open he is. He turned Danny Wallers all the way around. You saw Wallers with his back turned. He must have put some move on him.
These are baseball scores. And a couple of more finals. Detroit over Toronto. Play action. Craig can run. It's there, and he takes it. And interesting, he doesn't go sliding out of bounds as Bill Elko brings him down. I was surprised. I thought he would dart for the sideline, and he picked up close to 10 yards on the play.
Well, maybe they didn't teach him how to do that at Milton College, but
maybe that's the reason Milton College didn't have football.
Maybe they don't have. Well, I wish he would learn that too. That always scares me. Quarterbacks are such a precious commodity, but we mentioned mobility and its importance in the Seattle Seahawks offense, and you saw it right there, the little fake, and then Craig rolling to the outside, couldn't find the open receiver, but turns the possible loss or a nothing play into a very fine gain and a first down.
San Diego, 36-yard line. Seattle with a move underway, starting back at their own 20. Chargers leading 10-7. Franco Harris, the remaining back. But Mike Tice, and then the ball comes loose.
Mike Tice is
going to come
absolutely furious, and Craig is saying, look, if I get by the interception and it gets into your hands,
you're supposed to score a touchdown.
Just
like the Chargers
We
do.
saw that strange play earlier, the ball coming off Kenny Easley's heel into the hands of Bobby Duckworth, who scored, and here was a chance for the Seahawks to get their own big break. Billy Ray Smith had an opportunity for the interception. The ball went right through his hand. You see him at the top of your picture. Good drop. Watch it. Right through his hand. Now, Tice should have the football. He has it, in fact. I think he tried to run with it before he locked it away. Andre Young, number 49, a man who nailed him. But you got to lock that football up before you run with it, Charlie. 2nd and 10, 36-yard line. Greg now 6 of 15. Some pressure, pass is complete to Paul John. Gave a little head fake inside. Turned around and he saw Andre Young, and then Danny Walters pushed him out. He'll pick up about 9. Today's game is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Wang. Wang puts people in front of computers, and by AC Delco, the smart part. 5 minutes, 56 seconds, time remaining, second quarter. It'll be 3rd down and 1. 27-yard line. Seahawks have put together so far a second impressive drive back-to-back. And they now have converted 6 of 9 third down opportunities. Eric Lane. He's got it. And a flag is down. Hold on. You don't want to stop yourself, Charlie. You don't want to make a mistake in a key situation. 3rd and short, you get the yardage. And now they're going to march off a penalty and take you back. Something has happened in my mind. I want to mention this if you've gone through the same process. We talked yesterday with the Seahawks. We talked with each other. We'll get the call here.
We have holding number 76, offense.
On Steve Hawkins. Steve is not having a good outing. He's been caught on also illegal formation. All of a sudden, with this drive underway and trailing by 3, and I know that he's watching at the Swedish hospital. I've forgotten about Kurt Warner. Now the Seahawks, they have to play the rest of the season without him, and they have to put that away also in their minds. Does that happen? Does that process happen to you? The process, you have to go through it, Charlie, and you have to realize that you can win without him. That's the first hurdle to get over. They've scored without him. Now they've got to win without him. Third down and 11. Going deep. Double coverage. Turner. Incomplete. Andre Young had the coverage. Reuben Henderson was also there.
Henderson, the man covering initially on the play. Andre Young coming across, and I think bumped into Reuben Henderson just as that ball arrived, or probably would have had the interception.
Field goal attempt coming up. Norm Johnson in the opener, 4 of 4, is long, being 50 yards. This one is an attempt at 53. He has the distance. But the holder is Jim Zorn, the other quarterback.
Well, they haven't been afraid to use his passing ability. I think that's always an advantage, not only to have a quarterback, but one who can run back there holding that ball.
Is it a fake?
I think they'll kick it, Charlie.
53 yards away for the tie. No.
He had plenty of legs. He just put it off to the right.
We're inside the Kingdome in Seattle, and there's a look at the outside. Inside, the Chargers lead by 3. Baseball pennant races, as you know, they're heating up. And next Saturday, NBC's Game of the Week will feature We Don't Know Yet. It depends on what happens between now and then. So to bring you the best races leading to the World Series on NBC, stay with us. It's next Saturday for baseball, the Game of the Week. NBC, the home of the 1984 World Series.
We'll give you the hot ones, though. That's what we'll give you.
San Diego with Ernest Jackson carrying. He breaks it open to the right side and picks up 16, maybe 17 yards on the play. And he has the first down. John Harris makes the tackle for the Seahawks. There is Ernest Jackson.
He flies on this play. And one of the things that happens when you play against these Chargers, you begin to think pass, pass, pass. This is not a pass. This is an excellent run by Ernest Jackson. Harris doing a job of throwing his body across it. Charlie, that's a tackle that's very popular today, but it doesn't always bring people down.
Jackson gets the call again and adds 4 more to his total. 6 carries, 32 yards. And it will be second down. Second quarter score. Green Bay and the Raiders tied 7-7. And another time, Cleveland and the Rams, second quarter score. This is getting interesting now, 21-14. Oilers trailing the Colts by 7. San Diego will host Houston next week, and Seattle will travel to New England. Second down, 6. And it's Jackson. For those of you that joined the telecast late, we don't want to beat a story to death, but there are a lot of people that tune in late. Why Ernest Jackson? Why not Chuck Muncie? Chuck Muncie missed the team plane yesterday. Therefore, he missed the workout in the meeting here. Flew up here last night. Got in here around 9:30 or so. Visited with Coach Coryell. Coryell said, you're suspended and go on back home and watch it on television. We'll talk during the week. Just an update to keep you abreast of the story. We're moving on the 4-minute mark, time remaining.
That may be a longer suspension than just one game, Charlie.
Third down and 3 at the 41-yard line.
There's a big play, guy. Don Duffick.
Dufek.
Yeah.
Stopping Ernest Jackson.
Dufek flying in there. Safety blitz. Nobody to block him, and Dufek is all over him on that play. Watch it here, right in the left-hand side of your screen. Now watch this. There's nobody to block on him. He reads that quickly, dives in behind Wilkerson, the pulling guard, and runs Jackson down. Now, had he not done that, looked like there was room to the outside, but great pursuit. Look at all those blue shirts out there. That makes an old defensive player's heart pound, Charlie. I like that.
You like that. Here's the kick by Maury Buford. Paul Johns, he'll hope for the bounce. It's the Charger hop, and they'll down it in the field of play. So the Seahawks will have the football, but they'll have terrible field position. The punt good for 40 yards. An excellent kick by Maury Buford. Here's Paul Johns.
Paul Johns coming up to take a look at that. Doesn't want the ball. Now, if he signals for a fair catch, he cannot do that. He did not signal a fair catch. He's got to be disappointed. That ball taking a perfect San Diego bounce.
Chargers lead by 3. Summer is slowly slipping away. Not in San Diego. It's above 100 degrees in Southern California. Fall is almost upon us, at least here in Seattle. The boys are summer still in some unfinished business. Don't miss the absolute best of baseball. The 1984 World Series, the championship of baseball begins October the 9th here on NBC Sports.
Chargers are glad they came north for this one, Charlie.
Yes. Seattle from their own 4-yard line, first down. David Hughes giving just a bit of breathing room. He'll pick up about 5. It'll be second down. Gil Bird makes the tackle. The Chargers front 3. Chuck Ian, Bill Elko, and Keith Ferguson.
Now, those are names that are not household words anywhere. And I'm talking to Reggie McKenzie, and he said, you know, I don't even recognize any of those faces over there. Those are all new bodies over there. The surprise there is that Gary Big Hands Johnson not in the lineup. They feel that Chuck Ian will do a better job on that side than he will.
Second and 5. Hughes gets the call again, and he is met and can unceremoniously dropped at the line of scrimmage. It'll be third down 5.
The real pop on a line of scrimmage was number 54, Billy Ray Smith. But let's go back and look at that lineman we're talking about. You see Billy Ray, number 54, right on the left corner of your screen. Reggie McKenzie blocking on him. And watch it right here. He slips out from underneath the block and jams his helmet right into David Hughes' stomach and knocks him to the outside.
And the 2-minute warning given to both benches. We'll take a timeout. The score, San Diego 10, Seattle 7 in the Kingdom. This is Charlie Jones, Merlin Olsen in the Kingdom. 2 minutes to go, first half. Stay with us at halftime for NFL 84. We'll be going back to New York City with Bob, Ahmad, Bill, and Ash. That's the trivia question. No, it's not.
Get that game together. Catch you up on all the games around the country, and do a good job. With a couple of weird plays today. I think we'll probably have footage.
And if you joined us late, be sure to watch for what happened, the weird play in the first half here on the touchdown by the Chargers. Check this out. The speedster Turner pulls out at the 34-yard line. 24 yards. Daryl Turner, rookie, Michigan State, second-round draft choice. He can motor.
You have the feeling of being right there with the quarterback on this play. He's watching Daryl Turner all the way, and that's a zipping pass over the head of Andre Young. He's beaten Henderson. That's Henderson, number 20, that he beat on the play. But you saw that first speed by the receiver, Daryl Turner, as he just created some space for himself, took that football for a first down.
Turner's first reception this ballgame. In the opener, he had 1 reception, 39 yards, a touchdown. So his career, 2 receptions for 63 yards and a touchdown. Nice way to start.
Those averages aren't bad. You know, he dropped a sure touchdown last week, too, Charlie. You saw that game. And yet, they realize this young man is adjusting to the pressure of the game, and they're just tickled with the progress he's making. When you have a deep threat like that, you force the defense to sit up and take notice.
Seattle and San Diego, each with 2 timeouts left. 1 minute, 50 seconds left to go, first down. First down for Seattle on their own 33-yard line. Rolf Benirschke opened it with a 43-yard field goal. Fouts to Duckworth, 61 yards, Charger touchdown pass that came off of the heel.
Fouts to Easley to Duckworth.
Fouts to Easley, that's right. That's right. And then Eric Lane capping the drive for the Seahawks. That's been the scoring thus far. Right on the point tackle, got a 10-7. Pass complete to Paul John. Gain of 3. It will be second down and 7.
Working out of the shotgun now, calling the plays audibly at the line, trying to work the clock.
2-minute offense underway. Greg, far side, and throwing to Turner with the option. The only man that could catch it with Turner is if he came down leaping along the sideline. Otherwise, out of bounds, stopping the clock. 1:27 left.
Reuben Henderson, beaten on that play earlier, was right on top of Turner on that play. And, of course, Craig responded by putting that ball out of bounds, stopping the clock. Third down, 6 yards to go. Ball on the 37, Charlie. They got a long piece of green here for a touchdown, but I think they might be happy if they could get it down close enough for a field goal.
They'd like to have the tie at halftime. That's Bill the Beer Man. He's the man who starts the way. Third down, 6. Good defensive play. Dornick, the intended receiver, Carlos Bradley, ever so close to interference, coming right around.
That's exactly perfect timing. He's in there playing for Woody Lowe, who has a hip pointer. Now, he comes in just at the moment that ball arrives. A second sooner,
Right there.
he's going to be called for interference. But he hit that ball as the officials ruling that it was simultaneous to hitting the receiver. A fraction of a second earlier, hey, that's a first down.
Jeff West kicking to Lionel James.
Short.
Fair catch called for by the upback, Reuben Henderson. So San Diego has the ball. They have a hurry-up offense. We have a minute 16 left first half. We'll be back in just a moment after that 33-yard kick. San Diego with 2 timeouts remaining and 1:16 left to go first half, leading by 3, 10-7 from their own 30-yard line. And now we can watch the hottest arm in the West go to work. Dan Fouts. Offensive line giving him all the time in the world. He was throwing this away over the head of Pete Holahan. But that offensive line gave him all the time in the world, but the secondary of the Seahawks had excellent coverage of the receiver.
Charlie, one of the ways that you measure a quarterback as a defensive lineman is you want to test his courage. And you do that in part by seeing if you can intimidate him. And the great quarterbacks will stand in there and take every possible second they can take, knowing that they're going to take the hit. Fouts is a very courageous quarterback. He'll take the shots, and he's got the body to prove it, I'm afraid.
That's right, he does. Second and 10 from the 30. The handoff is to Jackson. Jackson to the 33. It'll be third down and 7, and Jacob Green cut his legs out from under him. 1 minute and counting.
Interesting call, and certainly not characteristic of the defense. I think they were hoping to cross up the secondary. With all those defensive backs in there, you'd like to run on a few obvious passing situations, burst it back into the secondary, and hope you can make big yardage.
Third down and 7.
How many they got in there, Charlie? I don't see any linebackers. Do you? Looks like all defensive backs and linemen.
3 linemen, 8 defensive backs. Joyner showing motion. Going deep, Duckworth. Intercepted by John Harris. Second interception for the Seahawks.
What's interesting about Harris is that he's playing with a cast on that right hand, Charlie. Didn't expect to be able to catch quite as comfortably as that, but did a good job of timing that pass. And there's a big payoff. Tom Catlin's defense reading the play well. They're all in position, and Harris just kind of hanging there. Fouts has a lot of time to throw, and this is dangerous. He can often find the open man in spite of your coverage and throw it in there. Tries to get it deep, throws a little short in this situation, and Harris goes up and pulls it down.
Excellent interception by John Harris. That is his second of the season. First of this game. Number of plays way to the Seahawks side. They want to keep that offense, their offense on the field, and San Diego's off. We mentioned that before. Craig returns it. He goes deep. And he goes into coverage, and it's caught by Darryl Carter at the 28-yard line. They said he would be the deep threat. This one 51 yards.
That's the toughest catch in the book. He lost the football early. The ball came directly over his head. Imagine looking back over the top. You'll see it here. He doesn't know where the football is. Look at him. He looked back directly over his head and caught the football. Reuben Henderson, number 20, man for man, didn't know where the football was because Turner couldn't tell him. He didn't know either until it was getting there. Turner limping. He's limping a little, Charlie.
He has 2 receptions for 75 yards. Chris Castor has replaced him. That's a happy limp, though, after picking off that pass.
Well, that's a real surprise, too, to be able to go that far that quickly. Chargers playing pass all the way with a limited rush, and everyone dropped back. You don't expect to be able to hit them with the long bomb that easily.
And Seattle with 1 timeout remaining and 15 seconds remaining as Dave Craig and Chuck Knox talking it over on the sideline, well within field goal range. for the tie at the half. What would you say, 1, 2 plays? If you're not in the end zone, then you go for the tie.
Well, they wouldn't hesitate to go for the score here. They might also take one chance to get closer for the certain field goal, although they're certainly within Johnson's range at this point.
San Diego has turned the ball over 3 times. Seattle has turned it over 1. And the Seahawks are very opportunistic ball club, although they didn't have that good a field position after the interception, but the 51-yard pass gave it to them.
Let's see what the Chargers elect to do here. They've dropped everyone back, although they've put Billy Ray Smith on the line as the 4th lineman.
Craig has pressure. Just drops off the pass to Dornick. And Dornick is down around the 23 of the 24. Immediate timeout. Gain of 5. Billy Ray Smith was right there. 6 seconds left on the clock. Takes their last timeout here. And they'll go for the field goal at the top.
You saw how quickly Craig got out there to call that timeout. You're ticking down to 6 quick counts, and you're out of that ballgame. You've got to get that clock stopped, and you must do it with a timeout. Norm Johnson onto the field. Jimmy Zorn out there to hold the football, and they missed one earlier. Plenty of leg, just off to the right. Norm would like to at least go 1-1 here in the first half.
Norm Johnson missing from 53 yards away. This one will be from about 40 yards out. Either 40 or 41 officially.
40.85.
With a tie at halftime. The end zone crowd tells you he's got it. 41 yards away. 1 second left on the scoreboard clock in the first half. Norm Johnson has tied it up at 10 apiece.
Special teams gathered around Johnson, and Rusty Tillman, the special teams coach. Don't want to make a mistake here, but with 1 second, probably will see that ball kicked on the ground, Charlie.
The clock does not start until the ball has been touched to the field of play inside the last 2 minutes of either half. Special teams, we've talked about that. They are excellent. The Seahawks have excellent special teams.
That's Charlie, and I don't think I'm mistaken on this. They're the first team in years and years to lead for 2 years in a row. They also led in 82, didn't they?
And they're also the first team in the NFL last year to lead in special teams in both punt coverage and kickoff coverage.
That's right. That's really what I meant in the 2 areas. Rusty Tillman, the special teams coach, is the source of that energy, and I think there he is on the sideline. He's into the ball game, I tell you. He's one of the great special teams players in the NFL during his playing days in Washington. He brought that same spirit here.
Look at the eyes. Look at the eyes. They show you the intensity right there.
These teams had a great week last week. Yeah, they just really have done a job for Seattle, but they have an important job here. And 1 second to go. You don't want to make a mistake. I don't think they will.
Ernest Jackson, number 41. Lionel James, number 26. Here the deep back on the return team for the Chargers. Norm Johnson will be kicking out. Just a break of any kind of a return rhythm. And forcing Darryl Goforth to fall the football. When he touches it, the clock starts, then the gun sounds, and that is the end of the first half. The score at the end of the first half, San Diego 10 and Seattle 10. The first quarter belonged to San Diego. Rolf Benerschke, 43-yard field goal, and then a Faust to Duckworth pass that bounced up off of the heel of Kenneth Easley. Ken Easley, 61 yards in the score. Seattle Lane scored from a yard out. Norm Johnson, 41-yard field goal. 84 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
The play to the outside and getting as much as he could, and then breaking back inside. And when the knee went, he said it just popped loose. As he runs out to the right now, you'll see him stretching the play out as far as he can, and he'll make the cut. He's not hit on this play. It's the leg that right here now. Watch the violent cut as he planted that knee, and then the knee is gone. He said at that moment he knew it was bad. He expects to make a full recovery. He's happy that his teammates are playing well. Charlie, that's it.
Let's go to New York City, NFL 84.
Back in New York at halftime, and let's get you quickly updated. Earlier today at the Orange Bowl, Miami made it 17 straight home wins against the Patriots, 28-7 the final. 2 more touchdown passes for Dan Marino. He hit Mark Clayton twice. He's got 7 TD throws on the young season. Chicago also wins. They're 2-0 like the Dolphins. 27-0 at Soldier Field. Walter Payton had 179 yards, including a 72-yard touchdown run. The Giants got 3 more touchdown passes from Phil Simms. He, like Marino, has 7 on the young season. They upset Dallas 28-7 at the Meadowlands. Detroit goes to overtime in Atlanta. Then Ed Murray connects from 48 yards out, 27-24 Lions in OT. St. Louis romps at Busch Stadium, 37-7 the final score over Buffalo. 2 touchdown passes for Neil Lomax. Kansas City is 2-0. The Bengals are 0-2. The Chiefs hold on at Riverfront, 27-22 the final. New Orleans wins a close one at home over Tampa Bay, 17-13. They defeat the Bucs. With 2 seconds to go at Veterans Stadium, Ron Jaworski hit John Spagnola from a yard out, and the Eagles win a thriller against the Vikings, 19-17. Halftime in the game you're watching, San Diego and Seattle are tied up at 10 apiece. They're early in the third at the Coliseum. The Raiders lead Green Bay 14-7. Also early in the third at Anaheim, Cleveland 10 and the Rams 10. And in the third quarter at the Astrodome, Indianapolis leads Houston 21-14. On the baseball scoreboard, the Mets made it 2 out of 3 at Shea Stadium this weekend against the Cubs, winning 5-1 behind Ron Darling, but they still trail the Cubs by 6 in the National League East. Meanwhile, American League East, it's all but over. Detroit's lead is 11.5. They sweep a 3-game series in Toronto, beating the Blue Jays today 7-2. Milt Wilcox 16-7 with the win. Kirk Gibson hit home run number 25. The Tigers' magic number is down to 9. Now, stay with us as NFL 84 halftime activities will continue following these messages and a word from your local station.
Back in the Kingdome in Seattle as we begin the second half with the score tied at 10-10. In the first half, total number of plays becomes one of the key factors as you look at the statistics. San Diego ran 29 offensive plays. Seattle ran 44. That's 15 more. 1/3, well, half of San Diego, and again, I mean, you know, that's a tremendous difference because of what Seattle wants to do is control the ball offensively, keep the San Diego offense off of the field.
Certainly true, Charlie. And as you looked at that, those statistics, the most amazing thing to me, 159 yards passing. There had 5. Seattle had 5 yards passing at the end of the quarter.
Today's Brian Gumbel live from Moscow tomorrow morning, an exclusive, unprecedented interview with the newly named chief of the Soviet military. That's tomorrow on Today. Ralph Benerska will be kicking off with Cullen Bryant and David Hughes set for the return for the Seahawks. So Seattle to open the second half on offense and a chance to control the football and control the ball game. We're tied at 10-10. There's David Hughes. Hughes, the fullback, along with Cullen Bryant and Dan Dornick, and also a return man, returns for 17 yards. Seattle expects a lot of things out of this young man. They think he's going to become a very good running back in the National Football League.
They are going to have to make do without a lot of the high draft choices that they would otherwise have enjoyed having. And, of course, we say it again, going to have to make do without Kurt Warner. They've got to find talent. Everybody's got to pick up the slack a little bit more, Charlie, right from your offensive linemen back to your running backs to your receivers. And I think that's what they have been able to do in the first half of this game.
Seattle from their own 24-yard line first down with Eric Lane and David Hughes in the backfield. And it's Eric Lane. Lane takes it to the right side. First down. Eric Lane is the captain of the special team that he picked up 13 yards in the first half. He scored the Seahawks touchdown, his first in the National Football League. He is in his 4th year.
You pay your dues on the special teams, Charlie. Eric is not without talent as a runner. You see him feeling that pressure and sensing an opening to the right, cutting back outside, and gosh, that's the kind of thing you'd see Franco do, or you see the great runners do. Good move. Here's the play, an overrun by 58 Green. Mike Green, there's the extended block, and that's the new rule right there. That's Robert Pratt, 61, pushing him away.
And here's Eric Lane again. About 8 yards.
You know what's interesting, Charlie? These are exactly the same plays you would have seen Kurt Warner running if he were here. Eric Lane is running them and running them effectively at the moment, although I think Seattle has to expect that their ground game is not going to be as productive without Warner, but it's still, if they can get those good, crisp gains, it takes a lot of pressure off the passing.
And number 37, Eric Lane, comes from good stock. His uncle is the great MacArthur Lane.
From Utah State.
You're cool. I knew you'd get that in. Here's Eric Lane.
Oh.
And he is shut down this time by Lyndon King.
Lyndon King playing with a big cast on his arm, broke a second metatarsal in that hand, and pretty tough character. He broke his hand once back in 1979, Charlie. He went in at halftime. They put a cast on it. It was his wrist he broke then. Came out in the second half, made some tackles on special teams. So this is kid stuff, he says.
Doesn't count.
Doesn't count. Nope.
3rd down and 2. Ryan Millard comes into the offensive set. Coach Chuck Knox says, I want men with a lot of sand. And I said the old Western saying, a man with sand to ride the river with. He said, no, I want a man with a lot of weight. I want his body filled with sand. Here's David Hughes.
Uh-oh.
And the defense stops him short of the 1st down. So Seattle will come up about a half a yard shy.
Miles McPherson, one of the many up to help stop that play, but that will shut down the drive, will bring a punter onto the field, and change of possession.
And that means that Jeff West will be kicking to Lionel James. Here's Lionel James, wearing number 26 now. He was wearing number 1, but that's the kicker's number. As a return man, he has to get up in the 20. Their catch is signaled for by the upback. Ruben Henderson almost misjudged. But San Diego will have the football. Now let's check the scoreboard. These are finals. Miami over New England, 28-7. Chicago shutting out Denver, 27-0. Giants, that's a surprise, 28-7 over Dallas. Detroit in overtime over Atlanta by 3, 27-24. As expected, 37-30 by not that large a margin, though. Kansas City, one of the surprise teams in the NFL over Cincinnati. New Orleans downing Tampa Bay. Here we're tied 10-10. The outlet to Jackson. A little delayed screen on the left side. And he picks up about 5 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 5. Michael Jackson and Joe Nash make the tackle. Another final, Philadelphia by 2 over Minnesota. So the Vikings have yet to win this year. 3rd quarter score, the Raiders leading Green Bay by 7. Cleveland, the Rams are tied at 10, 3rd quarter. We are tied at 10, and we've got an injury timeout. So we'll be back to the Kingdome in just a moment. It's San Diego 10 and Seattle 10.
Charlie Jones, Merlin Olsen, and that's Joe Nash, number 72, nose tackle for the Seahawks, has improved tremendously in this past year and playing very well. He was hurt on that last play. He comes in, gets a piece of the tackle, and kind of rolls off. You see the shoulder kind of buckle underneath him a little bit. He appears to be all right, and we'll probably see a great deal more of young Mr. Nash.
Report from the bench is that he is all right, but right now, Dino Mangiero, who the Seahawks picked up on waivers from Kansas City, has replaced him. 2nd down and 6 for the Chargers on their own 26-yard line. Here's Ernest Jackson. And Jackson high steps it around the left side and out to the 44-yard line. A gain of 18 yards on the play and a 1st down as Dave Brown was there for the Seahawks defense.
Ernest Jackson showing us some real speed and burst here. Has played very, very well in limited duty here today. Certainly does a good job. A little misdirection. Stepping to his right, coming back to his left, getting good blocking out front. Dennis McKnight, number 60, throwing an excellent block there. And good blocking by the old veteran Charlie Joyner downfield, working one-on-one on Dave Brown. Good play.
36-year-old men are not supposed to block downfield.
He is wonderful.
He is.
Oh,
Catch is picked off by Dave Brown. That is the 3rd interception that Bow has delivered in the ballgame.
little anger and frustration on the other side. Pete Holohan, number 88, getting into it. Faust was playing safety man on that play and got decked. Here's the shot from another deep end zone camera, and Dave Brown read the play very well. Joyner simply had no chance even to make the tackle. Cutting against the ground. I think Brown got a little greedy on that one, Charlie. He lost some yardage coming across the green.
Turnover, San Diego 4, Seattle 1. Seahawks have the ball at the 50-yard line. We'll be back in just a moment. Charlie Jones, this is Merlin Olsen. You've been bugging me since breakfast about a trivia question.
Charlie, I got a trivia question for you now. Mike Tyson, number 86, on the field, has a brother playing in the NFL.
Yes, his brother John, that's a tight end for New Orleans.
New Orleans, you're right. Okay, second part of the question.
Wait a minute.
No, this is a multiple-part question, Charlie. Now, Mike did not play tight end in college. He's tight end here. What position?
He was quarterback.
Okay, and now finally the question.
Wait a minute.
Now this is it, Charlie. This is it.
Now?
Who was the other tight end at Maryland? Mike Tyson, quarterback, his brother John at tight end.
I have no idea.
I'll let you think about that one for a second.
No idea. Play action, Craig. He goes deep. Man is there. Drives a great defensive play. Bird with that outstanding defensive play. Let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, for the fourth time in his career, John McEnroe is the U.S. Open tennis champion. He defeated Ivan Lendl in straight sets today, 6-3, 6-4, 6-1. It's the third consecutive time that Lendl has lost in the finals. Twice to Jimmy Connors, now to McEnroe. Charlie?
Thank you, Bob, for that update, because we were interested. I'm glad you gave it, because I was wondering how it came out. Gilbert, who just made that defensive play, a special hello to his wife, Marilyn, who is in the hospital in San Diego, watching the ball game.
He had permission to stay behind yesterday, and I know he's concerned about what is happening there. And that has to weigh heavily on the young man's mind. You need all your concentration on the game, Charlie.
But all of her family is there and gathered around, so she's in good hands. Going again to Steve Largent, and again it was Gilbert, and again it is incomplete, so it'll be 3rd and 10.
Talking to the great Lester Hayes of the Los Angeles Raiders, he said that this is the toughest man to cover one-on-one in the NFL because of his great moves. And you see his face there. It looked like he caught his cleats in that turf. That's a soft turf. Looked like he kind of tripped as he was coming back toward that ball.
And you can do that on this field. There's a lot of friction, a lot of catching of the rubber sole shoes that they're playing with here. 3rd down and 10. Largent in motion. Craig. Look for a block. It goes diving. And it'll be close. He may be just shy of it. He needed a full 10 yards. It looks like if he got 9 and change, and it'll be 4th down.
And Chuck,
Tough decision.
I believe he's going to go for it, Charlie. He's going to take a look at it. But he told Rusty to hold the team to the sideline. Indeed.
Got a foot away.
No, he wanted to take a peek, but he says, let's kick it away. That's interesting. He thought about it. He thought long and hard about it.
Well, now, wait a minute. Craig is still in there.
Now, wait a minute.
Craig did not go out. They made personnel changes.
He's gone to his short yardage.
Short yardage, yeah.
Right. Put the big horses in there.
4th down and a buck.
Well, then he didn't waver. He is going.
Eric Lane. He's got it. Reggie McKenzie led the way.
Well, Reggie, we saw him earlier having some stomach problems, has overcome that to get out in front of that, and I think that may be the oldest sweep in the world. You've got Pratt, McKenzie, and going around out there behind Charlie Young. They got some old-timers leading, but those old legs did a job.
They got there. They sure did.
And Eric Lane did his job. He got that 1st down.
37-yard line officially. And here's Lane this time. The defense meets and Rich Ackerman now at a nose tackle was there to stack him up. Billy Ray Smith also had a piece of the play. Today's game is being brought to you by Chevrolet with the performance, style, innovation, quality, and the value that make up today's Chevrolet. By McDonald's, it's a good time for the great taste of McDonald's. And by GMAC, the financing people from General Motors. This is Charlie Jones, Merlin Olsen, Kingdom. 8 minutes, 41 seconds left in the third quarter. Tie ball game. San Diego and Seattle. The score 10 on each side of the ledger. 2nd and 10. Craig to throw. John knocked away. Well, they're picking on Gilbert.
Well, they want him. I know that in any situation, you try and look for somebody that you can get one-on-one. San Diego Chargers putting a lot of pressure on their corners, asking them both to cover in a lot of situations man-to-man.
Wait a minute. Now, the trivia question, the game got excited. I have no idea who the other tight end.
Question again. Mike Tice, tight end here. Brother John Tice, tight end in New Orleans.
Right.
They were quarterback and tight end for Maryland. The other tight end, Eric Sievers, here today playing for the Chargers. Now, that's not a bad trivia question.
That's not bad.
I got you.
You did. I got 2 of the 3, but the 3 was the one that counted. All right. He's got it. And a lot of room to the 20, 15. Touchdown.
Beginning to regain their confidence. Shattered by Warner's injury, they have come back strong.
37 yards on the run. It's good. Seattle leads 17-10. Dave Craig is now the leading rusher in the ballgame. 4 carries, 60 yards, and a 37-yard romp for a touchdown.
Quarterback mobility. There's the result right there.
Norm Johnson will be kicking off for the Seahawks with Ernest Jackson and Lionel James sent to the return for San Diego. Seattle leading for the first time in the ballgame, 17-10. Lionel James follows it, drops it, picks it up.
Special teams, especially Fred Young, had so many plays last week. 4 tackles inside the 20. If you have 2 in a game for a team, that's incredible. He had 4 by himself last week and just came back to blitz him again on that play. I wonder how much adrenaline he's pumped in his first 2 professional games.
3rd-round draft choice, New Mexico State, linebacker, and they toyed with the idea because he did it in college of using him on kickoff return.
He also recovered a fumble and forced a fumble last week and blocked the punt.
Wow. San Diego from their own 12-yard line, trailing by 7. Bounce over the middle. It's complete. Holohan has it. First down, fumble. Seattle comes up with the ball. Shelton Robinson. The play may be dead. Remember, the artificial surface of the ground cannot cause a fumble. We'll take a look.
It's going to be, now they're going to blow it dead. And that's a shame. It looked like it might go as a turnover. A very fine strike down the middle. Pete Holohan, 88, getting some open space.
No, his knees were down. His knees were down, and anything besides the hands and the feet, when they touch, then the play is dead. It was not a fumble. Good call by the official.
Excellent recovery there, and good reaction by the Seattle defense.
35-yard line, and here's Ernest Jackson. We'll give him about 4 yards on the play. Let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, with the Chargers driving, I want to show you what happened in Anaheim as the Browns have taken the lead from the Rams. Impressive drive by Paul McDonald. Watch the great catch as Darrell Harris stretches out and makes the grab. Short time later, Ozzie Newsome is on the receiving end of a touchdown pass, 17-10, third quarter, Cleveland.
Thank you, Bill. That's a real surprise because the Browns looked so bad last week against the Seahawks that they were shut out 33-0.
That's the fumble, Charlie. That one will go the other way.
My only question is, did he have possession for it to be a complete pass?
I think he did. I think they're ruling it completion and fumble. And again, the hard hitting of this Seattle defense, knocking that ball loose, taking it out of the hand of the tight end, and that one they pick up. Eric Sievers and Faust is saying, hey, let's not give it away. It's tough enough to get that yardage as it is. Chance again. Good shot by Faust. Eric Sievers, 85, and there the ball is knocked away. Now, if he catches the football and gets both feet on the ground, he is ruled to have possession. There he goes upfield. He's going to be a receiver, a runner now, not a defensive back.
We'll be back. Officially, number 79, Jacob Green, recovered the fumble. Houlihan did have possession. The ball was not loose. Now there's the fumble.
57. That's Sheldon Robinson.
57, Sheldon
It looked
Robinson.
like Green was the first one to get on it, but Sheldon Robinson scooped it up and then handed it off to Keith Simpson, who went the other direction. Charlie, that's a lot of spaghetti out of there.
And that is the 5th turnover by the San Diego Chargers. 5 turnovers to 1. Franco Harris and Cullen Bryant are the running backs for the Seahawks. And here's Franco Harris. He'll gain a couple of yards to the 43. Let's go to New York City.
Charlie, in Houston, the Colts have struck again, and the Butler did it. Ray Butler on the receiving end of this Mike Pagel pass. The second touchdown catch of the day for Butler, and a 2-touchdown lead for the Colts, 28-14 in the third.
Bob Costas, you've got to be kidding me. The Butler did it? That's a great line. You will hear that line again. I'll steal it, use it about 4 weeks. Second down and 8. The ball at the San Diego 43-yard line. 6.5 minutes to go in the third. Seattle leads by 7. Pass is bounced to Charlie Young, and he was open.
Charlie, you said those are San Diego turnovers, and you're right. But, you know, that ball is being taken away by the Seattle defense. Last week's game, they had 5 turnovers. And in this week's game, they've had 5 turnovers. Last year, they had 54 takeaways. 54 takeaways. That's extra chances at the football. They're drive-stopping plays. That kept them in ball games last year. Their defense gave up an awful lot of yardage. What, 27th in the league? 27th last year. And yet with the takeaways, we're able to stay in the ball games. And they're off to a very hot start here in 1984.
Third down and 8. San Diego 43-yard line. And Gary Johnson got a running start, but he may have been drawn off. Officials will hold a conference to decide.
Well, he's got to be rested. He's been on the sideline for a good part of this ball game. Eager. Well, they're going to ticket the offense. False start. That's Ed Bailey. Perhaps if they ticket at number 65 has gone in, and Reggie McKenzie must be still having trouble. You know who played very well in this ball game? Ron Essing, 64.
Ball start, number 65. Offense.
Essing, of course, responsible on the outside for Ferguson a good part of the day. And Ferguson has made some good plays. Boy, you see the intensity of one Chuck Knox. He hates to see his teams make mistakes, hurt themselves. That's obvious there, his reaction.
Third down and 13. Just a little. Gary Johnson throwing it. It's complete. Almost intercepted by Andre Young. Darrell Turner, the intended receiver, he does have fresh legs. He was chasing him down.
He was running extremely well. And again, you see the value of quarterback mobility. Turning from a big play into, turning from a negative play into potential big play. The chance right there for Turner, although Andre Young is up. And even if he'd had that ball, it would have ended up down. Let's go back and look at the mobility thing here. You see right here, this is a little Francis Tarkington move. A little waggle right there. That got Johnson to dive. He missed him. Craig did a good job of getting away from the rush.
So Jeff West is kicking. Has pressure, but he gets it off. Fair catch is called for by Reuben Henderson, the outbound. He fumbles the ball when he comes down.
I believe it's Seattle Seahawks damage, Charlie.
I'm wondering if they gave him enough room. He has to be allowed room enough to catch the ball.
I don't see any flags on the ground.
I don't either.
He has to, when he is called a fair catch, he must catch the ball. Now let's see if Sheldon Robinson, 57, encroaches on him.
Right there.
He is very close to him. And
I'm surprised that a flag didn't come
we'll
down.
let the officials sort it out, but I would have to agree with you. From that angle, Charlie, we can't see how close he was. It looked like he was right on top of him.
The punt good for 25 yards. Seattle has it.
And another turnover.
Number 6.
At 6 in the ball game. Another big play by the special teams. And a real blow to the Chargers. You see Don Coryell. He is as grim-looking a coach as, you know, it's unfair to him because he's a very pleasant man. He is not feeling very pleasant at this moment. He looks up on that scoreboard, sees his team behind there, and of course looks out on the field and sees the Seahawks in possession of the ball inside his own 30-yard line.
Connie Kawhi recovered the fumble, and you saw that flashing sign, and that's what Merlin and I were alluding to, that being, of course, their 6th turnover. Seattle at the San Diego 26-yard line, first down. Ball John's in motion. Seattle leading by 7. Trent Jones has Ball John's open. Has the first down out of bounds. Andre Young was chasing him, but he was all alone.
Ray Prohaska, the offensive coordinator for these Seattle Seahawks. Kenny Myers calling the plays from upstairs, and the Seahawks utilizing all their talent. John came back last year from a knee injury and showing some real speed on that play. He can get deep, too.
Chick Harris bringing the plays in for the Seahawks. Gain of 14 to the 12-yard line. Another thing about Paul John, being the punt returner, he's used to handling the football with a lot of people around him. He can catch in a crowd.
He doesn't mind that either. Maybe he doesn't like it,
But he doesn't mind it. Eric Clay. Ball on the ground, Charlie. And San Diego comes up with it. That's Mike Green, number 58. And that is the 2nd turnover by the Seahawks.
You feel instant silence here in the Kingdome. We're looking at it from the end zone. Green, the man over to strip it, but it was one of the defensive backs, I believe, going up underneath that really knocked that ball loose.
We've got a timeout. Chargers have the ball.
Merlin Olsen and Charlie Jones. And Charlie, I know you did the first broadcast of the old AFL on television. Right. Followed them closely. It had to be a real treat for you to come back and have a chance to interview some of those people like Davis and Hunt and Namath and Blanda.
It was great fun. We'll talk about that. Back throw. Pass is complete to Pete Holohan. Holohan across the 25, and then he is down the 30-yard line. A gain of 21 yards on the play. Kenny Easy brought him down. Let's go to New York.
All right, Charlie, you've got a good one going in the Kingdome. There's a good one going on down in Anaheim. The Rams have tied it up. Vince Ferragamo's had a bad day, but he found a friend in Ron Brown. Little turnaround move there, and the Olympic gold medalist has himself 6 points. 17-17. They're locked up in the 4th quarter.
And they said a trackman couldn't play football, but he was a football player first, though.
Yes, he was. He's showing his speed, I'll tell you that.
He's a good one. San Diego from their own 30-yard line. Ernest Jackson, 6 yards to the 36. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Michael Jackson, no relation, makes the tackle. Along with Bruce Schultz. Let's check the scoreboard. 4th quarter. Raiders out in front of Green Bay, 21-7. Now the Raiders will play at Kansas City on NBC next week. Dick and Merle will be there. Cleveland and the Rams. They're tied 17 all, 4th quarter. And the Colts leading Houston by 14. That's a surprise, 4th quarter. And here, Seattle leads San Diego 17-10. Bounce pass, Wes Chandler. We haven't heard from Chandler in ever so long. You have to go back to the first quarter when I can remember him catching a pass. Keith Simpson makes the tackle. That is Chandler's 5th reception for only 34 yards.
Well, Chandler, I think, has been forced into doing a few things that are outside of his normal responsibilities by the absence of Winslow, and I think it's hurt his day. And he is a gifted athlete. In fact, I think perhaps the most spectacular of the players on the field here today.
3rd down and 1. Look for number 42, Pete Johnson. Here he is. It'll be close. He may not have made it.
Got there. I don't think he made it. Somebody really got in there deep and got to Pete Johnson's legs, and you can't run when somebody else has got those legs up in the air. 4th down. Rare to see Pete Johnson stop in that kind of short yardage situation, but it was excellent penetration by the Seattle defense that did it.
It'll be 4th and 1. Buford comes in to kick.
Buford's going to kick it, and there's a difference between being on your own 40 and your opponent's 40. Knox decided to go for it in a similar situation on his 40. Coryell won't gamble on his own 40.
Number 7 is Maury Buford. And on the return will be number 85 for the Seahawks, Paul John. Three minutes, 56 seconds left to go in the third. Seattle leading at 17-10. Pressure. Not that good a catch. He's motioning everybody to get away from it. It goes out of bounds at the 29-yard line.
Such heads-up play. Paul John signaling the other players who don't know where that football is to move away, because if it touches a blue shirt, it's a live football.
And that kick covered only 31 yards. Today's telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. I'll finish that right after this.
You see Johns right there waving them off to the side, saying, get out of the way, get out of the way. We don't want to cough it up here.
All right, back to the beginning. Today's telecast, would you like to read?
No, yeah.
Today's telecast is that I'll get it after this play. Everybody, you know what I'm going to say.
Charlie, why don't you wait till after this play?
Let's go ahead. 4 yards to the 33. It'll be 2nd down and 6, and Carlos Bradley made the tackle.
Now, Charlie.
I don't want to do it now. Today's telecast presented by authority of the National Football League. I heard that somewhere. Intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Seattle Seahawks and the National Football League is prohibited.
We haven't seen as much of Franco Harris in the second half. It could be that Franco tied up a little bit. His muscles have to be a little sore. We said he hasn't had any contact before today during this season.
Play action.
Yeah.
Tight end, Charlie Young, first down. San Diego 47-yard line. 20 yards.
Charlie Young heard little from last week, and their opener has been a big factor in this ball game. They've used a lot of motion, and they go to him on a little straight pattern. And even though he's been around a lot of years, he still can pick him up and lay him down. He gets in between the two linebackers right there, Lyndon King and Billy Ray Smith, makes the grab.
3 receptions, 44 yards. Did not have a reception, as you alluded, in the first ball game last week. First down, 47-yard line, San Diego territory. Close to 7 yards on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 3. Gary Johnson with the tackle.
That's what Franco can do so well. Makes the cutback. He doesn't have the great speed that he started with. Doesn't have the great strength, but I'll tell you, with a little change of scenery, a little extra incentive, I think he's going to be productive here.
I agree. They'll mark it at the 41-yard line, so it'll be 2nd down and 4. And he'll come up about a yard shy. 3rd down and 1. Billy Ray Smith was covering him.
Oh, if Chuck Knox had a Pete Johnson, this would be the play for him.
You got in Utah State, number 54? Billy Ray Johnson, University of Arkansas, was in school with his father, who was quite a ball player.
Billy Ray Smith.
Billy Ray Smith. Yeah. I'm sorry, what did I say?
You said Billy Ray Johnson.
I was in such a hurry to
I knew who you were looking at.
I tried to get my alma mater in there. I blew it, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. Is that USC?
No, let's not confuse it.
All right.
I was an undergraduate at USC.
All right, got it.
And Northwestern. Third down and 1. Eric Blaine, first down. 34-yard line. We have a report on number 35 for Seattle, defensive safety John Dufek. An ankle injury. He has gone to the locker room to have an X-ray.
It's one of the advantages of modern medicine. We have those machines right here, and they can look at it. You don't want to take a chance, especially with someone who's made as many big plays as Dufek has.
We're counting down the end of the third quarter. 23 seconds left.
Craig Wan here.
8 seconds on the 30-second clock, and he turns around and talks to Pat Haggerty. Now
maybe he's got a bad football. I don't know what he's could be doing.
Could be a little slick. They want a football.
Yes, that's what it is. You know, I talked to Blair Bush about the football. He said a couple of weeks ago they handed him a football in the first series that was about half inflated. He didn't know how it had gotten past the officials. He said you could squeeze it, and your thumb would go about halfway into it. He had to trade. A lot easier now that they don't use the stickum. They don't have to change that ball as often, especially indoors like this.
They reset the 30-second clock with the football change. Charlie Young. And Charlie is out of bounds. Inside the 30-yard. No, they'll mark it outside. The 31-yard line. So go for a gain of 3, second down and 7.
Charlie, one of the things you do as a defense, you rank the weapons that an offense can throw at you. And after being blanked, the opener, I think they may have put Charlie Young way down the list. I think they may have to reevaluate after what he's done here today.
And you mean the Charger defense put him down on the list?
The Charger defense.
Not being one of the...
Well, they say, you know, obviously the first receiver we've got to stop is Larson. And then they go to the speed receiver. They didn't really worry, I don't think, about Charlie Young.
Second down.
Yes.
There. Mike Tice. 5 yards on a first down goal to go 26 yards.
Not too bad for a former quarterback. Mike Tice takes that one over the inside. The defender lost the football. Looked like one of the linebackers back in good position. Lost the football, got his back to it. Billy Ray Smith right there. And lost the football. Goes into the hands of Mike Tice. They've got excellent field position.
And we'll be back after these messages from your local station.
Andre Young being helped off the field. And I kind of wonder if maybe having Muncie dropped out of the game plan has really hurt these Chargers today. It happened so late in the week.
And Luke Gallows of King Television, NBC affiliate here, talked to Chuck at the airport last night when he arrived. And we've got that for you, but right now let's get back to the ball game. But we do have that tape for you. We'll get it on. There's the 5-yard line. First down goal to go for Seattle. Franco Harris. 3-yard line. Mike Green with a tackle. It'll be second down goal to go.
Franco has always run better to his left than to his right for some reason. And I think because he just has a more natural flow going that direction. He's been able to cut back better. But this is the kind of thing he's done so effectively over the years. Stringing out to the outside behind the blocking of David Hughes and looking and knowing right there that the only yardage is back inside. Goes underneath Green and Billy Ray Smith. Picks up a couple of big yards. They're inside the 5-yard line.
Eric Blaine and David Hughes are the setbacks. Takes the lane. This is a bootleg on the way. He got it.
I think the toughest play to defense in short yardage is a quarterback rollout. You've got all the faking right there to Eric Lane inside. And Craig just showing a great speed. Outruns Gary Johnson, outruns Mike Green, dives into the end zone. Now, keep going just for a second. Oops, we didn't get it. Linesman knocked right flat on his back, signaling touchdown from the ground.
Extra point is good. And so with 14 minutes and 10 seconds left to go in the game, Seattle leads by 14, 24-10 here in the Kingdome. Don't miss the absolute best of baseball, the 1984 World Series. The championship of baseball begins October the 9th here on NBC Sports.
Well, we've got some excitement here.
Lawrence Johnson to kick off. Ernest Jackson and Lionel James set for the return. Here's James. To about the 27-yard line. Now, let's go back to that videotape interview with Chuck Muncie as he arrived at the Seattle airport last night after missing the Chargers chartered plane.
Everybody called, and I said, hey, Coach, I got, it's last time I can't make it to the airport, so they accepted it, and I brought the tires with me in my car, so, in case when we get back, I can show them plenty. So
What happened to your car?
I really don't know. I came out, to get in the car to go to the airport.
Bounce has pressure. Then he throws, coming back to help is Charlie Joyner. He saw he was in trouble, cut off his route, came back, took the pass at the 33, maybe the 34-yard line. Keith Butler with the tackle.
Charlie, let's finish with that tape. And with all the action, it's hard to do that. But, in fact, that's Charlie Joyner's 600th catch.
Everything happened.
Everything happened at once. But the final of that particular conversation with Muncie, he said the coaches accepted his excuse. Not true. They sent him home. And
he was suspended
for this game, and maybe longer. Certainly the way Jackson is playing today, maybe he lost his job. But I think it's really had an impact on the offense today.
Second down and 4. Juggled and then caught by Pete Holohan. And into Seattle territory, the 49-yard line. Now we've got 13 minutes, 22 seconds, and San Diego for a moment there was in a hurry-up offense. Now let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, and hasn't Dave Craig looked good, especially here in the second half? Now, down in Houston, an impressive Oiler drive behind Warren Moon. Earl Campbell has scored his third touchdown of the day. It is 28-21, and the Oilers have pulled to within a touchdown of the Colts with just over 9 minutes left to play.
Ernest Jackson as we come back to the action here to the Seattle 41-yard line.
Hated to cut off that update, but South's not wasting any time. In fact, said he might go to a no-huddle offense today. The reason for doing that, he wants to keep the nickel package, keep all those extra defensive backs off the field, and if there's no time to substitute, he'll be able to do that. But they've got 4 defensive linemen in there now, and the backs are in there already, Charlie.
2nd and 3. Ernest Jackson. And he'll pick up the first down at the 36-yard line, a gain of 5. Randy Edwards with the tackle.
And that's what you have to do. When a team begins to replace linebackers with defensive backs, you've got to run the football. You've got to force them to keep their legitimate people in the game. That way you can balance out and use your passing effectively. Bruce Matheson signaling in, as is Dave Levy, the offensive line coach. And something interesting happening in front of those guys. Maybe we'll get that. We'll get that in a little while. We'll try. We'll try. A lot of action in this game.
Seattle leading by 14, 24-10. San Diego at the Seahawks 36-yard line. First down. Here's Jackson. He picks up about 9 yards on the play. And he's stopped by Greg Gage.
Number 60, Dennis McKnight, out leading that sweep. Helen Conan doing a good job of blocking on that particular play for Ernest Jackson.
15 carries, 84 yards. They mark it at the 28-yard line, so it'll be 2nd down and 2. Bounce likes to throw on 2nd and 2. Bounce likes to throw on any down. That's an easy statement. He gets this is Jackson for the first down. He's got it. soon as I said that, I realized it Fouts comes out throwing. But today, he has not thrown as much today.
I think because Seattle has been so often in situations where they are expecting the pass and anticipating the pass, Fouts trying to take advantage of that and use his running back. I also think that Coryell and his offensive staff have done a good job of Ernie Zampese, offensive coordinator, of scrambling that offense right at the last minute. And again, that goes back to the loss of Muncie and the loss of Kellen Winslow.
Seattle 23-yard line. Fouts is back. Joe Nash got it. That is the first down. Interesting story on Joe Nash. They were not pleased with his play last year. They wanted to improve, and they brought Mike Fanning in. They brought Dino Mangier. Every time they brought somebody in, his play improved. Well, and he is really playing well.
He certainly is. Had 2 sacks last week, along with fumble recovery, and here he is with a big sack right there. And the equation is simple against Fouts. You've got to get that pressure up the middle, or he's going to chew on you.
That's the first time that Fouts has been sacked this year. Loss of 8, 2nd and 18. Incomplete. Holahan cut behind Keith Simpson. Couldn't put it in. He made a good play, but he couldn't make the catch up.
Just great hand, Pete Holahan, and a good defensive play by Simpson, who stripped him away. Holahan had 25 balls thrown to him last year that were catchable. Caught all 25. I don't see how you can hang on to this one. Watch it right there. Look what Simpson did. Reached in, got a hold of the arm, and jerked the 2 arms apart. Now, that's a great defensive play, and you're right, you can't hang on to that ball.
3rd down and 18, 31. This is the 9th play of this drive. Seattle leading 24-10, 9:58 left of the ball game. Fouts has pressure. He gets it off with his chest. It's a free ball. Is it Holahan?
Yes, it is.
The deflection. Jeff Bryant was there for the Seahawks. It'll be 4th down.
Charlie, I believe they're going to bring it back to the spot saying that he was in the grasp of Jeff Bryant. I believe they're going to, yes, they're bringing it back. Going to be 4th down from about the 37.
So it's the 2nd sack.
That's the 2nd sack of the day. 1 by Bryant, 1 by Nash. Again, the rule was made to try and protect the quarterback. Fouts is strong and he's courageous.
And he is in the grass.
He is in the grass and control. Now that's the other thing. They dictated that the man was able to pull him down, and he was indeed pulling him down.
A moment ago, it's 1st down at the Seattle 23. It's 4th and 24 back at the 37-yard line. 9.5 to go. Pressure again. Goes deep. It is intercepted by John Harris, his 2nd interception of the ball game. Turnover number 7. San Diego has turned the ball over 7 times. Fouts shakes his head. The Seahawks have the ball, and they have the lead, 24-10, 9 minutes, 17 seconds left in the game. John Harris, I notice he's waving the left hand. If you get the right hand up, he has a cast on that right thumb, and then it's wrapped. 2 interceptions today. 1, there it is. There you can see him. Forget it, John.
That's all right, John.
3 already to shoot.
That's right. He is off to a blazing start, and the turnovers continue. The rule of thumb, Knox always said, if you could get 6, we win the ball game.
He's got
7 right now.
4 interceptions, 3 fumble recoveries. Franco Harris. Was that a little stutter step to the right? He ended up to the left. We'll be back. Let's go to New York City.
Charlie, with Art Schleister waiting in the wings, the Colts' Mike Pagel knows he has to play well. He has done that today in Houston. He hits Tracy Porter here for a 33-yard touchdown. Pagel's 4th scoring strike of the day. 35-21, Colts in the 4th. Charles?
Thank you, Bob. I'm really surprised by that.
After watching Houston and watching their improvement, I did not expect to see them stumble that badly here against the Colts.
Second down and 8. Franco Harris, David Hughes at the running back. Here's Franco to the right side, and he is pulled down.
Billy Ray.
1-yard line. Billy Ray Smith got it. We lose a couple, so it'll be third down and 10. Don't forget to join us on November the 10th. That's the day after my birthday. Horse racing $10 million day. Breeders' Cup featuring 7 championship races, and every race has a purse of at least $1 million. Truly the Super Bowl of horse racing coming November the 10th on NBC Sports. You're smiling.
I was smiling over that defensive play by Billy Ray Smith. And one of the things that teams are beginning to measure is hand strength. You saw Billy Ray just leap out there and just with great hand strength just snap the running back right to the ground.
Third down and 10. Paul John. And he's going for the first down. He has to go to the 41-yard line, and he's right in that neighborhood. Danny Walters with the tackle. He's got it. First down, Seattle. Let's check the scoreboard. These are finals. Miami winning. Chicago winning. Giants winning. Overtime, Detroit by 3 over Atlanta. St. Louis big over Buffalo. Kansas City edging Cincinnati. New Orleans barely over Tampa Bay. Even closer, Philadelphia over Minnesota. Fourth quarter, Raiders out in front of Green Bay. Inside, fourth quarter, Colts in front of Houston. And here it is Seattle 24, San Diego 10 with 6:55 left to go in the ball game, and Franco Harris is the ball player. And he is all alone. And picks up 3, maybe 4 yards on the play. Now let's go back to the scoreboard. Flip side, baseball score. Final, the Mets and the Cubs. Mets win it 5-1. Kansas City over Seattle 6-5. Texas winning. Detroit over Toronto. So what that means is everything is beginning to snuggle up in the end of the baseball season. Next Saturday, NBC's game of the week as Franco Harris comes off leading the World Series.
Merlin, amazing to see how much he has played after just a couple of days practice, and the new system has not really made, well, one mistake we saw on a broken play, but has played extremely well.
Charlie Young, 3 yards to the 48. It'll be third down and 3. Gil Bird makes the tackle. Now on his career, Franco Harris, including this ball game, has 11,996 yards, so he's only 4 yards away from the 12,000 plateau. Jim Brown, of course, with the record 12,312.
He's got to be tired tonight. So I said it earlier.
What about tomorrow?
Oh, he's going to have to find himself a sauna. Believe me, his body is going to be sore because the one thing you can't prepare yourself for is the contact of this game. And he's run. He's in great shape. He's at his playing weight. He doesn't have any endurance problem, but he won't be able to take this pounding without really hurting.
Flag is down on the far side. Pass is complete to Carter, and he picks on the ball into the end zone. But there is a marker down. Don't celebrate too soon.
I'm afraid.
yards with a question mark.
Charlie, I'm afraid that one of the offensive linemen, and I believe it was Ron Essink, 64, bailing out a little too early to try and protect on that play. And it's going to bring it all the way back, and that's sad. But we'd mentioned that gliding speed of Darrell Turner, and you saw it right there. It didn't look like he was running that fast. But he ran away from everybody.
Number 64, offense, still third down.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
Essink is enraged. He was guessing on the count. A good offensive lineman have to do that. They've got to guess on that count. He was just a little too quick.
Why
well,
did they have to guess?
When you've got a good, quick defensive man on top of you, especially in that situation. They had the defensive end lined up way outside of him. He felt that he had to get outside to shut off that outside rush, and just took a little too much advantage of the snap count.
Third down and 8. The ball at the 43-yard line. We would like to welcome those viewers that have just joined us. San Diego-Seattle game still in progress here. The score is Seattle 24, San Diego 10 with 5 minutes and 10 seconds still to go. So stay with us. We've got a good one. Greg going deep. Paul Johns is trying to say he was interfered with. Looked over his left shoulder. The pass was over his right. Danny Walters had good, tight coverage on it.
Walters was right on that one. Craig made a bad throw, did not get the ball where it was supposed to be. Anytime you see the receiver turn when he's running directly like that, quarterback has to give him a chance to catch it on the side he's looking over.
5:05. Time remaining, and Seattle will be kicking. 4th down and 8. Jeff West is in. Lionel James set for the return. Dave Craig has completed 17 of 35, 241 yards, 1 interception. James. Fumble. Seattle has it.
Well, the equation has just worked like clockwork for these Seahawks today. They said their game is turnovers, and they've had 8 of them in this ball game.
And watch Eric Lane, number 37. He ends up with the football.
He forced the pressure on James, who made a bad decision, tried to dive for that football, touched the football, did not possess it, and Eric Lane leaped on top of it, and there's the number, and that is a killer. You give your opponent 6 more opportunities at the ball than you've had, it's tough to be a winner.
At the San Diego 22-yard line.
Ray Prohaska, his 365th game in the NFL. Can you imagine that, Charlie? That's a whole year full of football games.
That's a long time. Seattle, 4 interceptions, 4 fumble recoveries. They're rolling out. Pass is incomplete. Margin the intended receiver. Let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, tough to overcome all those turnovers. Want to show you what has happened in Anaheim. Eric Dickerson over 100 yards on the day. Mike Lansford has kicked a 27-yard field goal. It's 20-17. The Rams lead Cleveland, but the Browns have the ball with 19 seconds left.
Summer Sunday, USA, special edition on NBC tonight. Roger Mudd will be profiling the presidential candidate, strong question, and straight talk to help make your decision 84. Then it's the Emmy-winning miniseries Marco Polo, the man, the legend, the adventure. Don't miss an international all-star cast in Marco Polo tonight on NBC. 2nd down and 10. Towards the end zone, incomplete. Paul Johns, the intended receiver. Danny Walter for San Diego.
Good pass. In traffic. Thrown where the receiver had a chance and the defenders did not have a chance to intercept. Good coverage by San Diego. Almost a great catch by Paul Johns. Stretched out, took that ball on the ground, but I believe he brushed the ball on the ground as he hit the end zone, Charlie.
So it will be 3rd down and 10 back at the 22-yard line.
Just an interesting note. The time of possession now 21 minutes for San Diego, 33 minutes for Seattle. And that's the result of those turnovers again. The Chargers have been stopping themselves.
3rd down 10. It's there. Darryl Turner. Turner now with 3 receptions, 97 yards.
Well, as good as this San Diego defense played last week, they're being chewed up right now by the Seahawks. They're not hacking at all. They're hawking. And that's a great catch by Turner, again, showing you that speed, but it's made possible by the protection that Craig got, part of it because of his mobility back there.
Norm Johnson has the extra point. 31-10, Seattle leading. Here in the Kingdom, we'll be back for the kickoff. races for the pennant are far from over. NBC Sports will take you right down to the wire. Join us next Saturday when the American tradition continues with Major League Baseball's Game of the Week. That's next Saturday beginning at 3 Eastern Time on NBC Sports, the home of the 1984 World Series. Norm Johnson kicking off for Seattle.
Out of bounds.
So they'll bring it back and do it again. Now, as they come back, let's go back to that down pass from Dave Craig to Darrell Turner.
Craig will get a little extra time because he'll dodge some pressure here. Watch him just step over and then come right back up. And it's that forward that these Seattle Seahawks quarterbacks have not had in the past few seasons. Room to operate. That allows them to concentrate downfield, spot the open receivers, and a very open receiver in this case, Darrell Turner. That young man is going to help them with that speed and also with the fact that he is clamping on that football.
4 minutes and 29 seconds left to go in the game here. Seattle 31, San Diego 10. Next week, Seattle at New England, and San Diego will host Houston.
Some folks at home watching this game would say, why is Norm Johnson kicking that ball out of bounds? He has decided, they have said, the ball is going to be kicked to the left-hand corner. And he's trying to get it as close to that corner as possible without getting it out of bounds. Now, this time, they're probably going to have to kick to the middle. They don't want to put themselves in a situation where there's a possible penalty, and also they're kicking from 5 yards further back. But they have the option, right, left, or center.
Total offense. Seahawks 424 yards. The Chargers 288.
And think for a second that at the end of the first quarter, the Seahawks had 5 yards net passing.
And also last week, San Diego had 526 yards against the
Well, that's a little bit. The numbers have certainly changed, Charlie.
Yes, they have. Lionel James. And he is set down right at the 20-yard line.
That's great coverage. That's just great coverage. Sam Merriman and Dornick and Fred Young, and all of them down, and Rusty's got his guys breathing fire.
We've got a timeout. 4:20 left to go. San Diego has the football. We'll be back in just a moment. Today's game is being brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, simply phone your nearest BMW dealer. By Old Milwaukee and Old Milwaukee Light, it doesn't get any better than this. And by the U.S. Army, a place to be all you can be. 4 minutes and 20 seconds left to go in the ball game. San Diego has the ball on their own 20-yard line. Along with Merlin Olsen, I'm Charlie Jones. Bounce throws. The pass is complete. Charlie Joyner. His second reception of the ball game, and number 601 in his career. He picked up 12 yards of the first down.
I don't think we gave him proper credit.
No,
for
we
that.
really didn't.
That's really a milestone in his career, and that's something that. How many people, Charlie, is?
He becomes the fourth. Charlie Taylor, Don Maynard, Raymond Barrett. And last week he became the fourth receiver with total yardage of more than 10,000.
You talk about a class group of receivers. Of course, Charlie Taylor going into the Hall of Fame this last year, along with Mike McCormick, general manager of Seattle.
First down, San Diego, their own 32-yard line. Duckworth, knocked away. Dave Brown.
Man-to-man coverage. You can't look at the quarterback. You've got to let that receiver tell you where the ball is. Brown did it very, very well on that play, and the ball actually bounced off his shoulder, I think, Charlie.
It'll be second down and 10.
Charlie, I'll ask you a question. If you had one quarterback to pick with time running out on you, needing to get all the way down the field, who would it be?
Oh, number 14.
No question. He's the guy I'd want to. He's the guy I'd want to.
Flag is down. Far side to Wes Chandler. He caught it at the 46-yard line. If the play stands up, Terry Taylor has a coverage on it.
Well,
they'll bring it back. On NBC tonight, a special edition of Summer Sunday USA. Roger Mudd profiling the presidential candidates. Strong questions, straight talk to help you make your decision in '84. Then it's the Emmy-winning miniseries Marco Polo, the man, the legend, the adventure. Don't miss an international all-star cast in Marco Polo tonight on NBC. Second down, 15, back inside the 27-yard line. Wes Chandler, he was hanging up there and knew he was going to be pulled out. Gain of 20.
I said earlier, I thought that he is the most graceful athlete on the field. Gymnastic ability that is just, look at this reception. Now look at the body contortions that he has to go through to catch this football, knowing that he is going to get drilled once he has his hands on it. Look how high he is. Just smashed the ground. Terry Taylor, number 20, in there to take his legs right out from underneath him. But Chandler is healthy this year. Last year went through just about every injury you can imagine. Both feet injured, got his teeth knocked out, got hit in the kidneys, and well, that's what he can do when he's healthy. He may not be healthy after that shot.
He's not as healthy as you were talking.
Well, he's not quite as healthy as he was before that catch, but Charger offense doing a little bit better now. They're approaching the 50-yard line.
And they have a first down at the San Diego 47. Now drop. Ernest Jackson coming out of the backfield. A chance for us to thank Joe Costanza and his support crew here in the booth. Gary Moore and Jim Ott, our spotters. Also Barry Culver and Frank Manthal.
Charlie, you go looking for game breakers. You look for people who can make the difference in a game. One guy who can really pop things open. I think maybe Seattle has found one here in Darrell Turner.
And during the commercial, the camera turned around and pointed up. You could read his lips. He said, "We're number 1 and number 2 and number 3." It was a parlay. Second down and 10, 47-yard line. Falcons completed 18 of 30 for 240 yards, 1 touchdown, 4 interceptions. The Chargers also have given up 4 fumbles, 8 turnovers. Paul Moyer for the defense. Third down and 10. Let's check the scoreboard. The Raiders, that's now a final, defeating Green Bay 28-7. Raiders playing at Kansas City next week on NBC. And the Rams would beat Cleveland by 3, 20-17. Fourth quarter, that's still a surprise. 35-21 the Colts over Houston. Third down and 10. Time permitting, NFL 84 will have all the scores and highlights. This third down. How long has it been since the Chargers have converted third down?
They've missed the last 7, Charlie. They got one.
They got one. Pete Holahan.
They converted the first 2 opportunities they had. They went 0 for 7 then in a stretch, and now they came right back. They're going to go without a huddle. About moving people around, he'll call the play audibly. He needs 7 people on the line.
Gain of 12 and a first down.
He's got it. Oh, no.
Joyner.
Now, you won't see that very often. Joyner furious at himself for not hanging on to that football. And the one thing that Fouts can hurt you with is that he knows exactly where he wants his people. And almost before you can get lined up, he's got his people out there and going. There's such precision, ordinarily, not today, but there's such precision to the San Diego offense that he can get them moving and get them going very quickly. And one of the problems that the Seahawks had last year, they were learning a new system. And very often they didn't line up in the right place, and they were hurt by quarterbacks who could hit them quickly.
Second and 10, 42-yard line of Seattle. 3 minutes, 4 seconds left in the game. Seahawks lead it 31-10. The margin, 21 points, 3 touchdowns for overtime. A flag is down, and the pass is incomplete. Chandler, the intended receiver, Terry Jackson in the coverage, and we'll go back to the flag.
Both officials kind of looking away on that play. They could conceivably have called offensive interference.
That is now a final. The Colts defeating Houston. Houston next week at San Diego for the Chargers home opener.
Charlie, maybe a good opportunity for us to talk about the impact of this game on these 2 teams. No question in my mind that going into this game, the Seahawks had the most to lose by not playing well.
Yes.
Chargers kind of know who they are and where they're going. They'll bounce back. They're a veteran team. Seahawks still very young.
illegal formation. It's declined. Go ahead, Merle.
Chuck Knox has done a good job. In fact, I think a great job of overcoming what could have been a devastating situation. Team down emotionally. The morale was down. Off to such a good start, but everything turned down on them. Then they got Franco in, and today, the death thing. They have played well offensively, and they have just creamed San Diego defensively.
And also their special teams.
And their special teams played well. Well, that's almost a given, yes.
Incomplete. Bobby Duckworth, the intended receiver. It'll be 4th and 10. They'll go for it again.
Such a critical time and such a difficult time for a quarterback when everyone knows he's going to throw. Now, there's a great stat. Chuck Knox, my coach in L.A. for those first 5 years, and of course came in and turned the losing team into a 12-2 winner in his first year. Took the Rams, Buffalo, and Seattle to the playoffs. And 8 of 11 years, Charlie, he's had his teams in the playoffs. You don't have to say much more. The record will speak for itself.
And if they continue playing like this, it could be 9 of 12.
Now, a real fear here that Warner's injury ended any chance of that. Well, they're not there yet, believe me, but they made a big step today.
4th down and 10. Fouts has completed only 3 of 10 passes on this drive. Incomplete. Joyner, intended receiver. Seattle takes over on down.
Well, if you're Dan Fouts, this is one you want to forget. This is one you just put behind you. If you're wearing a blue uniform today, you can't wait to go see the film.
19 of 36. Been held at 251 yards passing. 4 interceptions. And the Seahawks also have 4 fumble recoveries. The Chargers have an interception. That's by Lyndon King, and a fumble recovery by Miles McPherson. So the difference in the takeaways, +6 to this ball game on the Seahawks side of the ledger. Now they'll work on that clock. Cullen Bryant, 2:42 and counting. That is the time remaining in the game. Danny Walters with the tackle here. 18 of 38, 263 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and in addition, he ran 37 yards for a touchdown.
Big running touchdown, and Craig is he ran 2 touchdowns, Charlie. Ran another one into the end zone, didn't he, down here in the right-hand corner?
That's right.
Yeah, he got 2 of them.
You're right.
But Craig, after a rusty start, was not impressive. We said it earlier, had 5 yards. And just 5 yards passing.
That's right.
Was not hitting the receivers, looked rusty, and he's come on a great boost for his confidence today. That's much needed.
2nd down and 7. And now the 2-minute warning. Very seldom will this happen, but the 30-second clock and the regular game clock were in sync. They both ended at the same time. Fantastic finishes. Well, we're going to have another one. You've heard about them, and here we go again.
Alcoa presents Fantastic Finishes, 1983. Baltimore's Raul Alegre is jubilant over his game-tying field goal against the Patriots. Moments later in overtime, Steve Grogan pitches out to Tony Collins, who is hit and stripped of the football by Vernon Maxwell. Baltimore's Johnny Cook gobbles up the bouncing ball on a dead run and lumbers 52 yards to victory. Frank Bush's prayers have been answered.
We're back at the Kingdome with 2 minutes left to go in the ball game, and Seattle with a commanding lead of 21 points, 31-10 over the San Diego Chargers. And Seattle has the football and an opportunity to run some more time off of the clock.
I think that's what they're going to try to do here, although they are in a 1-back set. Cullen Bryant, big horse back there in the backfield. That's about as close as they can come to Pete Johnson. Bryant, a weightlifter, over 230 pounds himself, and he can move the pile down there a bit.
Gain of 3. So it'll be 3rd down and 4.
You know, Charlie, they put him into the ball game, I think, here because he rarely coughs that football up. You don't want to fumble, and his numbers are fantastic. He's got those big, strong arms. He just clamps on that football. And we said that Franco wanted 32, and there's the man that was wearing it. Franco said, hey, his number, I'll take 34.
And there is Franco, 14 carries, 46 yards. In rushing offense, the Seahawks 175, San Diego's been held to 97.
Franco has to feel very good about today.
Yes, he does. Here's Eric Lane. Flag is down. And that will stop the clock with 1 minute and 9 seconds left to go in the ballgame. The ballgame's been decided.
It really has.
Seattle leading 31-10, so let's go to New York City.
All right, Charlie, we'll take this opportunity to run through some of the scores from earlier today. Miami beat New England 28-7, the final score there. Chicago, with Walter Payton gaining 179 yards, beat Denver 27-0. Phil Simms, 3 more touchdown passes, 28-7. The Giants upset Dallas. Detroit beats Atlanta in overtime, 27-24. The Cardinals win their first game of the year, 37-7 at home against Buffalo. Kansas City is 2-0. They beat Cincinnati 27-22. New Orleans over Tampa Bay, 17-13 at the Superdome. And Philadelphia scored with 2 seconds left to beat Minnesota at Veterans Stadium in Philly, 19-17. Let's go back to Charlie and Merlin.
All right, thank you, Bob. The flag here was holding against the Seahawks. It was refused, so it will be 4th down and 4. And that means that Jeff West will be kicking to Lionel James. Fair catch.
Oh, boy.
Bounce, and it's going to be...
They blew it.
They had a chance to down it.
They blew it. They had a chance to put it inside the 5. They had about 6 people down there who could have downed it, Charlie. Somebody bounced it into the end zone.
52-yard kick with the touchback will bring the ball out to the 20-yard line, where San Diego will have their last hurrah with 57 seconds left to go and trailing by 21 points. 31-10, the Seahawks leading. Now, at the end of the first quarter, San Diego led 10-0. At halftime, it was 10-10. Into the third, 17-10 Seattle. So the Seahawks have shut off the offense, the scoring offense of the Chargers, for the last 3 quarters. Well, this pass is complete to Charlie Joyner. Joyner is out to the 33, maybe the 34-yard line, and Fouts was smothered.
Fouts really took a pop on that play.
Let's go to New York City.
Well, we're back again. Here are the late scores today in the NFL. The Raiders beat Green Bay 28-7. They had been tied 7-all at halftime. The Rams, on a Mike Lansford field goal of 27 yards late in the ballgame, beat Cleveland 20-17. And Indianapolis, with Mike Pagel throwing for 4 scores, beat Houston 35-21. In the baseball pennant races, the Mets, behind Ron Darling, beat the Cubs 5-1 at Shea. They took 2 out of 3 from them this weekend, but still trail by 6 in the National League East. In the American League East, Detroit's magic number is down to 9. Their lead over Toronto is 11.5. They complete a 3-game sweep this weekend in Toronto by winning 7-2. Milt Wilcox, the winner, 16-7. Kirk Gibson hit home run number 25. Let's go back to Charlie and Merlin.
Thank you, Bob. In the game here, Merlin, a big difference in the emotional factor.
I really believe so, Charlie. The Seahawks knew what they had to do, and they knew they all had to come up a notch. They had to perform well. I think at the same time, the loss of Winslow did not frighten the Chargers. I really believe that Muncie's loss just before the game not only upset them and that their game plan had to be changed dramatically at the last minute, but also had an emotional impact on this team. And emotion is the difference in a game like this. It's not the physical difference in teams, it's emotion. And the Seahawks have had it, the Chargers have not.
Bounce to throw. And the pass is complete for a first down at the 45-yard line. Gain of 11. Joyner, the receiver. Moyer, the man who made the tackle.
Scott's working down the middle to his favorite target, Charlie Joyner. But the Seahawks willing to give up that kind of yardage. They just don't want to give up points.
San Diego takes another timeout. They now have 1 timeout remaining. Here's a look at the scoring.
Chargers obviously got off to the quicker start. It looked for a while like they were going to dominate the game. And then suddenly, away they went. Seahawks got on track.
Now let's update the scoring in the ballgame. Benerska had the field goal, and then here we go. And Seattle starts to close. And even more. And more. Bounce going deep. Holahan inside the 10 to the 5-yard line. 41 yards on the play.
Now That's the
No,
kind
that would
of
be
play.
50 yards. They were on the San Diego 45.
That's the kind of play that will give Catlin nightmares, the defensive coordinator for Seattle. They'd only given up one long bomb in 6 games. They've had 2 today. One of them aided by Easley's foot.
To New York.
All right, Charlie, a couple more baseball scores. Texas beat Minnesota 9-3. Kansas City rallied, and they beat Seattle 6-5. So now Kansas City leads Minnesota and California by 1 game in the American League West. The Angels are playing tonight in Chicago. This is the result in the finals of the U.S. Open tennis tournament. McEnroe in straight sets over Lendl 6-3, 6-4, 6-1. For McEnroe, it's U.S. Open victory number 4. Lendl loses in the finals for the 3rd year in a row. The first 2 times to Jimmy Connors, then today to John McEnroe. Charlie.
All right, thank you, Bob. Pete Holohan, now 6 receptions, 133 yards.
Holohan showing his value. Eric Sieber has shown his. And the question we might ask, and that's certainly something will have to be sorted out, what kind of reception will Kellen Winslow get from his teammates when he walks into practice? No, it's an interesting thing.
And the reception of Chuck Muncy.
And the reception of Chuck Muncy. Now,
both very quiet receptions, I would guess.
When you create a problem, and certainly walking out of camp, missing the plane, creating the disturbance that Muncy has, it's like reaching into a teammate's pocket and taking money out of that pocket. And you better have an awfully good reason to do it. And you better have their support, or you're going to get some pretty cold shoulders when you come back. I don't think either of those players are going to be welcomed with happy receptions. And they're going to come back to camp. They're going to have to earn their way back into the circle.
First down goal to go at this point. Fouts has completed 22 of 39, 327 yards, going for his 3rd touchdown. He's got it. Add 4 more to the total, but he has given up 4 interceptions. San Diego also has fumbled the ball away 4 times.
That touchdown means very little, Charlie. Maybe saves a little pride and gives them a little bit better feeling as they make their trip home. But as I said, I think this is the game Fouts is just going to put behind him. And I think Dave Levy, the rest of that offensive staff, Ernie Zampese, they're all going to say, hey, let's just stick this one back on the shelf. We won't worry about it. We'll come back. We'll start next week, start getting ready for the Houston Oilers.
Ralph Benerska to attempt the extra point. Ed Luther to hold. Makes it 31-17. With 24 seconds left to go here at the Kingdome. Chuck Knox has to be a very pleased man with the performance of the Seattle Seahawks today. A chance for us to remind you that our executive producer is Michael Weissman. Ted Nathanson, the coordinating producer of NFL football. Today's producer, Larry Cirillo. And Ted Nathanson, our director. NFL 84, produced by John Filippelli, directed by Bucky Gunn. And we also want to remind you that next Saturday on baseball's Game of the Week, our staff will be watching the races very closely to bring you the best game next Saturday, leading to the World Series here on NBC. 24 seconds left to go in the Kingdome. For the Seattle Seahawks, it will be win number 2. Their record will be 2-0. And the Chargers' record, their first loss, it will be 1-1. They're expecting the onside kick, and here it is. And it is covered immediately by Byron Walker. The Charger drive 80 yards in 4 plays, and it took only 33 seconds. That is the time remaining.
And it's, well, they say that the kickers were offside. I believe they're going to have to re-kick it, Charlie. I don't think you have a choice. No, you don't have the choice on that.
Sure, you can refuse the penalty.
Let's see. They're going to make him kick it again? Oh, I see. Offside on Seattle.
Oh, Seattle lined up offside. Okay.
You've got to be 10 yards away from that kicker. Somebody stepped into that zone. You've got to give them 10 yards, Charlie.
Yes.
That's interesting. You're right. You can refuse it if it's against the kicking team. You get another opportunity. Right here, look at the time of possession. What a telling stat. All right. Almost. Almost a successful recovery.
Eric Lane covered the ball for Seattle. The clock is stopped now with 20 seconds.
Chuck Knox looking on from the sideline has to be very pleased with his troops. And a big lift for the Seahawks, Charlie.
San Diego's last touchdown. Part of your trivia question. Eric Sievers on the receiving end.
Sievers, somehow that all seems very unimportant.
It does, yeah.
And you know, you as a player, I can put myself on both sidelines, and you feel a great relief of having overcome an obstacle. In the case of the Seahawks, you feel the pressure and the pain of knowing you played a very sloppy football game if you're a San Diego Charger.
And so Seattle just will let the clock run down, and for all intents and purposes, this game is over. With 5 to go, we just watch the countdown. The final score, Seattle Seahawks 31, San Diego Chargers 17. I'm Charlie Jones, along with Merlin Olsen. And Merlin, I'm really surprised. I thought it would be a closer ball game.
I did too, Charlie. And again, I go back to those emotional factors.
Immediately following these local messages, Summer Sunday USA Special Edition will be joined in progress over most of these stations, except for most Mountain and Pacific Time Zone stations, where it will be seen at its regular time. So long, everybody, from the Kingdome in Seattle.